Yo, 1 2, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Yeah, we live in this. Oh shoot. Yeah, big up everyone. Big up a Kingo, man. As you can hear, I got a bit of a sore throat today, but still trying the thing, you get me? We're still going through same way, you get me? With a rusty way. Yeah, that's it. So what are going on, people? What's everyone on today? I hope everyone's having a blessed day. Mine ain't started off too bad myself. Um, review. Let's review. What's old? What's new? What's been said? What ain't been said? What have you lot been talking about? What ain't you been talking about? But you lot turn up when you're ready, man. Like I always say, it's no rush. I ain't rushing no one to get here like that. Is it? But I was thinking something. What was I thinking? So yeah, long story short, I've been looking at some stuff. I've been listening back to some of the stuff we've done already as well, and I think that really and truthfully, some of it we're gonna have to touch back on, and some of it we're gonna have to touch base again. I want to say big up to Tash Chefs, yeah, and to the sisters them that couldn't make it to the show that other day. Um, I was gonna imply that I don't know, maybe the sisters them, you know, I don't know if they feel like the Bible is beating them up or the religious books in general. I don't know, but I don't know, man. I was feeling like they weren't like I don't know, man. They just weren't enjoying it, or they just didn't want no involvement with it whatsoever. But I'm getting the inkling that it was just the time of the show now, and the sisters wanted to be here, but they couldn't be here because they probably did have things to say. So I want to say like out to the sisters, them like I hope we didn't do you an injustice by speaking our side and version of things. Um, when you lot are ready, you lot talk your things, innit? We're here for you. We got space for you. Um, what was I gonna say now? A Kingo, if you're about, jump on. 92 Dread, if you're about, jump on. I got some juicy stuff for you today still. I'm not gonna lie. Cause you see the thing is now, yeah, I feel a little bit warmed up now. I'm one of them type of man, yeah. Like, you know what? A man said to me, let's turn the cameras on. My camera's on. What? What you man saying? Yeah? There you go. You want a close up? Yeah? Man's at work right now, B. Yeah? Multitasking. But I'm saying to you, you can't just say things to a man like Schiffer. And you know what that means ultimately? That means, yeah, if you jump on this show over here, jokes and banter, don't get me wrong, it's exactly what it says it is on the tin. It's jokes and banter. But you can't just say things. Because if you say things, yeah, like, and this is why I believe, don't get me wrong, I ain't got a problem with no one, innit? So I ain't gonna start bringing out names or, talk about any problem with anyone. But I'm gonna say this much. I think sometimes it's difficult for me to be around certain people because people say things and then they might even forget what they said. And it's like, I ain't gonna forget. I got one of them type of memories. When people say they got a memory like an elephant and they say an elephant never forgets. I'm one of them people. I might not e- I might not even remember it today, but somehow tomorrow it just came back to me. I don't know. I'm one of them ones on a weird one. I just remember the weirdest thing. Big up Ekingo.
Yo, peace, blessings, peace, love, and light. Big up yourself, Shift, man. Yeah, man. Tune into another Shift show, man. I like it. Jokes and banter, man. You know, it's a
Come
nice.
on.
Yeah, it's a nice day today. It's been a nice week. How you been, man? It's a good Thursday. Um,
I'll
yeah,
be honest, I've been
happy
good,
new
yeah.
day to
I've been
everybody.
good.
Happy
Come
new
on.
day to everybody.
Blessings, all blessings for the most high to the most high.
Yeah. And what's interesting is before I went, I just wanted to quickly say I've looked at a couple of things, and I actually had something today. Especially why I said drop the link is because I've got like a little video. I want you to look at it, man. I want your opinion. It's
That's
something
good.
to do. Yeah, it's kind of like a political one. It's an evangelist. You know, the evangelist people, the
Okay.
help. The people that go the what are they called now? A specific name for them, but there's the people that go help at people in Africa, right? Um,
Mm.
the what are they called now?
The Red
The
Cross
charity
them, they say.
people. They're like yeah, like Red Cross. That's it. Yeah, Red Cross is one of the people, one of the companies that go there. Um, but yeah, they're. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of my thoughts of what I was just looking at because I'm gonna what rather than me explain. It's yes, like these aid workers. That's what they're called, aid workers, right? So they go and they give like people people who are hungry, people who are in poverty. Just give them like help, food and whatnot. But there's a deeper
Mm.
story behind it, and I always knew that it was the case, but we kind of all heard stories. But this guy breaks it down
So
like
hold on, whoa. When you say there's a deeper story, you're talking about a
mm,
hidden agenda.
now,
So
and that's the
I
thing, and it's
once you said
specific.
this year, you see once you said this year, I think what we can do, yeah, if you post your link, yeah, but
Right.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know exactly how long this show is gonna be, and we got
And what's your opinion?
quite a lot of stuff to get through. But
Right.
if you post a link
Right.
in the private chat, then I'll put it into the rotation. But I'm gonna try
Yeah,
and get
sure.
through all of this stuff quick. I'm not trying to be here forever doing all like. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm still at work in it. Like if Sham finishes work or Natty or one of the man them finish and can take over, even you, a Kingo, really, you're part of the
Yeah,
team now. So like you're
right.
supposed to be fitting. Like I don't know if you got your laptop out, but we're supposed to have that patterned out so then you can just take over, Kev, and you can play your videos, do your thing because you're part of the
Yeah, I
team
mean
now
I
too,
could
Kev.
share a
You know like
screen,
that.
and that's what
Um,
I was planning on doing. But I was
yeah.
thinking if it's I'm just wondering if it's a copyright or royalty thing. I don't know what it is like, because
Well,
certain things you can't. But
ultimately,
I think you can play the audio for 10 seconds or 30
yeah.
seconds and stop it. So maybe I might just do that. But it's good. He's concise and he's clear.
Well, ultimately, I'm wanting everyone who is part of the team, who's part of the group now.
Mm.
If you're in the private group that we got, especially like yourself, I want you to feel like you're part of the team because we are a team and we're going places. And when we get to where we're going, there's gonna be things happening. We probably gonna make some money out of this. We're gonna break some bread, like that. So I want everyone to feel part of that and to know their contribution, like that. But
Hmm.
differently, you see what I've been doing this week now, yeah? I've been looking back on some of our older shows and some of the subjects we went into. Um, I just like sometimes I just scan through YouTube anyway and look at videos anyway, and stuff that we've talked about that will just pop up. So, like even like for instance, like Panero's mind, big up Panero's mind actually. Let me give Panero's mind a big shout out. And if you lot ain't like, don't get me twisted, yeah. I know everyone's not into the same thing in it. So some people it might not be your cup of tea. But if you're not subscribed to Panero's mind, like I feel sorry for you. Yeah, or at least channel a channel like it because listen, you see, even certain times like I miss things and someone will point something out. Panero's mind's one of them type of guys. You're gonna point out things that we missed. And I've even got something from him today that he did, and it was like, you know what? It's relevant to the show. I wish he was on the show when I'm having the conversation. You know, I got some, I got some entertainment slash, debate topics as well. I got some entertainment slash debate topics as well, but I got some real deep ones. Yeah, and you
Nice.
see the deep ones that I got. These deep ones that I got right here, Kingo. I'm
Mm.
telling you, like, in my opinion, I'm not telling you for definitely, but in my opinion, These ones are the ones that could be life changers for people. Like for instance, like my brother 92 Dread, because you know me and 92 Dread for the last week or so, like he's my brother in it. Like I got love for 92 Dread, man. Like so it's not a thing where like we're at each other's throats, but we've been going back and forth about this science and religion and stuff. And I think like some of what we've been talking about, you know, has been very idea based. And I think a lot of our ideas we forget don't stem from us. We're getting them from somewhere else, from someone else.
Information. Yeah. Yeah.
You feel me? So
Yeah.
I think that, you know, I found a little bit of information just for 92 Dread, you know, to get us back, to sink our teeth back into our conversation and give it a bit of direction, if that makes sense. And also, like, as you know, I'm an Israelite, innit? So I'm a believer in it. I think that, like, you see some.
Well, you're a little bit choppy, you know. You're a little bit choppy. Are you? Sorry, Shiv. Are you talking through your phone? Because it's a little bit choppy. There's a little bit of a feedback.
These are the things that turn people into believers. Like, even this is all science. Hold on, is that better now?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Wait, let me listen. Let me turn it up because I can hear a buzzing feedback. I don't know if mine is the same, but no, but you're clear enough. You're clear enough.
Is that any better now?
Yeah, that's much better.
All right, say no more. So, like some of these things here, yeah. Like, and the thing is, it's like, you know, when you talk to people like, and they don't like religion, or they're just against it, or they're into science, or whatever they're into, that steers them away from religion. It's like you have to show them something really tremendous to make them really take notice. Like even when it comes, you see, like when people talk about aliens and stuff, like I think you'd have to show someone something really tremendous, something really like, you know, I don't know, man, something really out of this world,
concrete,
before certain people are going to believe it. Now, some people might call it concrete. I would just say you have to show them something unexplainable before they're going to believe. And in a way, I wouldn't say everything that's unexplainable is a miracle, but in a way, some of these unexplainable things are miracles. Do you feel what I'm trying to say? And even beyond miracles, you know, like that levels of technology and indications of advanced civilizations or technologies beyond what human capacity holds. Do you feel where I'm coming from? So, you know, that's where I kind of went on this little mission today with my the show that I'm going to put together today. Yeah. And I want everyone to really, like, even if you're not here right now and you're watching this show back, try and take some of this in. And, you know, obviously today is not the only day, in it. There's many more days to come, yeah, to arrive in our lives. So we can talk about this in the future. We can talk about this now, you know. Like
so what do you mean by magic? Can I ask you a question? What do you mean by magic in terms of like different dimensional phenomena that we're not aware of, or stuff that or stuff in this dimension that you are aware of, but we don't see it as miracle, but it is a miracle.
You see what you just did right there, yeah? You see what you just did right there? One of these videos, yeah, is from the History Channel, yeah? So you know we're dealing with science and history, you guys, isn't it? But you see exactly what you did. Exactly where you went with it is exactly where he went with it. And when you watch that, bro, I'm telling you, like some of this stuff here, I don't want to talk too much in it,
because if you're talking about spirit, that's the spirit realm, isn't it? Because then that's what I could say we would see that as a miracle, because that's how we'll perceive it, because we're on that sort of discovery stage, isn't it? It's not like become the norm as of yet. So everything that's like newly discovered is seen as a miracle. So for example, when they saw the black people making fire, they instantly were obviously like seeing these people as magicians. So that's why you got the. That's why you got the.
You see where you went. You slightly went in the wrong direction. You see where I'm going with this, yeah? What I should have called this show today, I should have called it I've Been on Mars. I should have called it My Home Planet. I've been on Mars. You know, like that. And you see why I should have called it that? You're gonna see shortly when I start showing you some stuff. Because there's things going on. And you see me, even me as a man, certain times I get caught up in my life. I'm not paying attention. And then I see to these startling discoveries. It bewilders me, bro. It bewilders me how little people really know. Do you feel where I'm coming from? And enough people they're working with outdated information. Enough people are working with outdated information as well. So it's like not only are people oblivious to certain things, they're accepting of things that are outdated, like it's been proven wrong. Do you know, like that? And I think that's why it's important to have shows like this, to have like other shows as well that do these similar type of things, similar type of topics, because a lot of these things are way overlooked, but extremely important on levels that I can't even explain. So I think the best thing I could do, yeah. In fact, you know what? You see, because we always do this serious stuff over the last week or so, yeah. We actually going to start on some entertainment stuff. I'm not going to start with all that heavy stuff. Are you still there, Kingo? Yo, Kingo, you still there?
Yeah. My phone just rang, brother. So I had to take that quickly. Yeah, go on.
Say nothing. Say nothing.
Yeah,
do you remember? Do you remember back in the day there was a rapper called Snow? Do you remember Snow?
Snow. No.
Do you remember a rapper, or not a rapper? He was kind of more of a like a
Snow.
You
cut out there, dancehall. I caught dancehall. That's what I caught.
He was kind of like one of them pop kind of reggae kind of artists.
What's his name? Like what's the name? Say the name.
Snow.
Wow, you keep on cutting out. Like, why? What is it? It's like you getting trolled or something.
Am I cutting out now?
Wait, no, not now. So Snow, yeah? You said Snow.
Yeah.
You
got some tune that goes Informer.
Yeah. Okay. No, that was Ice. That was
That was Snow.
That was his name, just Snow.
His name was Snow. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. One daddy Snow. And ever make a tornado and a farmer. You know, that way. All that bullshit. Yeah, all that shit. So he was enforcing the informer thing, innit? So any informer for dead. So from then on, you weren't interested in calling police or no. You know what I mean? Stitches get snitches, but
my man was on crud though. My man was on crud.
I ain't scared of nobody, bro.
He was slightly on crud.
I live by my rules and live by my life. Go on.
You see the thing though?
Man, ain't snitching. Go on.
What I realized this year. You see what I realized, yeah? It's like someone brought this to my attention. And I thought to myself, do you know what?
What was the purpose of that? Why do you bring it up?
Can you hear me all right, yeah?
No, yeah. But you just said something about it, like that song Snow. What was you meaning by that, bro? Hello?
All right, so someone brought this up to me. They were saying that, yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Talking about hip hop, yeah. They were talking about hip hop and them things there, and they're saying, hold on. In fact, 1 second, the Kingo. 1 sec. My phone's ringing. Hold on 1 second. Let me just turn that off. Yeah, so they were talking about hip hop and them things there, yeah. And they were talking about, all right, when hip hop started, same like dancehall and reggae and them type of things there. It's a black people's thing, but our things always get usurped. And what will happen is, man will come through the door acting like they're your friend, when really, like, they just want what you got. And I took it for granted. Now, here's the thing, though, yeah?
Not all of them, but a lot of them, yeah.
hear me out. Not all, you say not all of them, but watch the thing now, bro. Yeah. So I'm saying, all right, do you know what? You got X amount of white rappers out there, yeah. And I started to think about this. What is rap? What is it really about? It's about fame. It's about glory, innit? Just like any industry. Yeah.
Right.
Now,
Right.
what I'm gonna say to you is, yeah, you see, we as black people, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say that black people ain't got royalty in it. Like we got royalty in Africa. Yeah, we got African billionaires and X, Y, Z. Yeah. But we've only got certain industries, yeah, where we're actually dominant, especially in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, where we're actually dominant. Yeah. Now, what I'm saying to you is, yeah, imagine I'm watching this thing about this brother, and they're saying that them tunes there, like that Informer tune, all of them tunes there now, yeah. My man didn't write them all, cause do you know like that? Like his brethren helped him write. Like his brethren helped him write all the songs. Yeah. Who was his DJ? Yeah. And then he cut him out, cause yeah, and then went off on his own thing. But the only tune that man know him about, the only tune that I know from this guy is that Informer. I don't know no other tune by this guy that's big. Other than there's one new tune a few years back here. What's the guy called? Daddy Yankee. Do you know about Daddy Yankee?
No. Maybe. I probably heard.
He's like a Latino kind of guy, like Barley Funk and all of that kind of Latino music, innit? Yeah. So my man done like a kind of remix thing of that Snow tune, innit? And he's got the Snow Brother on there, like. But I'm saying, like, that's the only tune I know by this brother. So I'm saying, hold on. Really and truthfully, this brother, yeah, comes into the industry, yeah, homes his skills with his black friend, yeah, because man didn't know patois. He had to learn that from black people. Do you understand? So by the time his friends helped him like refine his style, named him, yeah, giving him his name, everything, got him his deal, linked him up with the people to get him his deal, everything. A man cut his brethren out. Yeah. So his brethren said that he was supposed to get half. Whatever he gets, I get half. Yeah. My man cut him out. Went to court, everything, cut out the brethren in it. So the moral to the story, long story short, yeah. As a black man, this man has obviously, you know, seen something in this youth who he's bucked and saw him as a friend, you know, made a verbal agreement, helped a man to flip in, understand the music and brought him up to speed, coached him, got him to the level that he would, according to him anyway, according to his account, got him to where he's at, named him, helped him write his hit song. And then that man just cut him out, and then gone off into the sunset. And it made me think to myself, hold on, you see this guy? When I remembered this guy, I thought to myself, nah, this ain't right, because man, that not
so
being
what
funny.
was that business? That was a business deal. Yeah. You saying that's a business
everything
deal?
after that tune. Everything after that tune, though, yeah, that hit tune is whack. I'm not gonna lie. And it said to me, hold on, this Canadian guy, yeah, I don't know if like it's a Canadian thing, but it's just straight culture vulturism that man's dealing with, bro. Do you know, like that? Right. And man don't even really pay their dues, doesn't it? So it's like, for instance, I'll give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean now. You know, you got like, you know, you got them boy bands like Hanson or flipping, I don't know, man. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like them, that classic kind of boy band, like rock group.
Did you say Hanson?
Or what, you know, like that?
Or did you just say Hanson?
Yeah.
Nah.
Hanson and them, man. You remember Hanson?
Pause. I don't think.
Do you remember who they are?
Oh, yeah.
No, but here's the thing. What I'm saying. these
Go
are
on.
like these are your classic white boy. These are your classic white boy groups, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Nah,
Okay.
not
Yeah,
being
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
I've
Oh yeah,
never
no,
seen. I've
Tuesday,
never
I can
seen a
remember
black
Hanson.
hand.
No, they look like the dudes that have
Yeah,
Home Alone, didn't
I've
they? Or Jedward. Remember Jedward?
yeah,
Jed.
you understand them? But bro, you see the thing is, yeah, you ain't never seen a group of black boys doing that shit, bro, and vulturing their culture like that, cuz yeah, you've never seen it. Yeah, and I guarantee you, if a group of black boys got involved in that industry there, you're gonna have a Simon Cowell or the equivalent behind them who's helping them like mold them, write their song or whatever. And he's getting paid, cuz in fact, he's probably getting paid more than them. But when it happens the other way around, it's like black people get the short end of the stick. I said, nah, do you know what? We let people in too easy, cuz. Do you know, like that? And let man climb to the top of our ladder too easy.
Okay, so
I
let
said,
me just
nah, do
say
you know what?
something. Let me just say something, bro. Can I just say something, bro? On what you just said, yeah. I wanna. I looked. I heard Mayweather's speech, yeah, when he got the Hall of Fame, and he was like, he emphasized when he was talking about, oh, the money team wouldn't have been the money team, and I wouldn't be me without the boxers and everybody here, blah blah blah. Like, you know, he does his whole whole spiel, yeah, he has his whole little speech, but like at the core of it, he's got a point in the sense, like, because like black people have been running things in the boxing scene. They're always been on top. It's very rare where you had Klitschko and all these, but like even when like I honestly genuinely, like, we all know that when black people were on top of the game of boxing, they pulled the most crowds, they were like the most remembered boxers, all the rest of it. So like white people kind of go into fights knowing they're going to lose most of the time, or have this negative, and we all know it. Let's, like, the elephant in the room is like they're like almost participating, knowing that they're at some sort of handicapped, yeah, disadvantage with black people physically, yeah. And so especially with like boxing, and like he was aware that sometimes, yeah, if you're always on top, you got to show like the smaller guy acknowledgement, and obviously that can go amiss in it through like you being better than someone, and or thinking you're better than someone, and just not really, just like, you know, the small guy doesn't really get remembered to the, you know, just naturally, isn't it? It's like the order of things. But as human beings, I think we recognize that might is good,
You know,
but sometimes.
do you know the
And I
wickedest
think
thing is a Kingo though? Yeah.
yes.
You see
So
what I'm saying? It
I was going to make a point quickly, bro.
don't even stop up. It don't even stop at black people though, cuz. But go on, finish your point.
I was just going to make a point quickly. Yeah? I was going to say quickly, and I think the fact he emphasized that it was a whole team and he wasn't just focused on himself or whatever and his pups and his family. I think he's very inclusive, and he gets a bit of a stick from the conscious community. I'd say a lot of them have ruled him out as being some sort of person who speaks for black people, as someone who's going to help black people, quote unquote, or, you know what I mean, or is for the movement or whatever. And so obviously he's had his critics, you know, and he'll have you know what I mean. So yeah, I think he's embraced the multicultural, say what's right in the media in the moment, and be a good person, and, you know, only support what they tell you. You know, he's obviously a lackey, isn't it? He's not. He controls, makes smart moves. He's, you know, as a powerful black man, but he's definitely told what to say. He knows what to say. He doesn't push the boat out, and that's how he makes his millions. You know what I mean? And he stays safe with what he got to say. You know what I mean? And I've got to kind of commend him for that. Is he doing stuff for black people behind closed doors? I think he should do. I think he should, and he probably does, just to save face, and because he's got enough money anyway, just to throw away a couple of million, and it'd be like a couple of pence he's thrown away. But go on, bro. Go on. Just go on, continue. But I think along the lines of people selling out, people work, people who aren't staying just solely black or to one group or I wouldn't say that that's a good thing. I won't really look down on someone who wants to work with someone who's quote unquote the enemy.
See, I don't have a problem with that, yeah. You see what my problem is really, yeah, is with this whole thing of, like, say like you're my brethren now, yeah, and you bring me in, you say that, bro, like, say like I'm good at something, yeah, I'm good at football, yeah, and you're what's the thing, you're a scout, and you come to me like, bro, I can get you in with the best teams. All you need to do is follow my instruction. I'll get you to the level you need to be at. So you do all of the hard work. You'll spend money on me. Spend time. Time is money. Yeah. And then when it comes to it, you cut me out and go with someone else, cuz.
I'm trying to show you something, my brother. Yeah, no, I know, and that's wrong. But was it black business? Was it black joint enterprise? I'm just gonna ask that. I'm like, to pretend I'm a black person now. Yeah, I'm just asking for the sake of conversation. I'm not trying to put myself or to think I'm more black. I'm saying, was it two black people doing like work together?
I'm gonna show you the video right now.
Or you saying that was the white rapper who stole something from, usurped something? Because I'm kind of like a little bit.
All right, I'm gonna play this video. I'm gonna play this video, and you make your own analysis. You make your own analysis, but I'm gonna say that really and truthfully, a man cut his brethren out who got him where he needed to be, cuz, yeah, and his brethren is therefore like his agent as well as his DJ, as well as a co-writer. So a man didn't feel no way to cut his brethren out of the deal, cuz, when the money was on the table, cuz. Now I'm saying, like, don't get me wrong, that don't mean black people haven't done that to each other. You know, that a man's got a deal and cut his brethren out or whatever. Do you know, like that stuff like that's happened, innit? But I'm saying to you, like, really and truthfully, like, this is our thing, innit? And we're so far as to open the door to everyone. Yeah, and by the time we open the door, it's too late. You can't close it now because you let everyone in. Because remember, that's like royalty, and I don't see black people rolling up in the Buckingham Palace and being treated like royalty or accepted on the same level. I don't see that happening, and I think that's one problem that we got as black people in our community, that, you know, we accept people on our level, on our terms, on our things, but they don't accept us. So maybe there's an issue there. Like, it's like a man said on another channel. A man said that a Chinese man got made a chief in Ghana, and that even like that triggered the alarm bells for me, like, because no black man ain't being made no chief of China. But you know what? I'm gonna play this video. Let me play this video. Let's have a look.
He was born in the cold, raised in subsidized housing, caught a case in his teens, and was even denied business opportunities because of his race. But none of that was going to keep Darren Kenneth O'Brien, later known to the world as Snow, from achieving his dreams in the music industry. Canadian reggae fusion artist Snow was born one of 4 children to Irish-Canadian parents in Toronto, Ontario. Following his parents' divorce, he was raised by his mother in the Allenbury Gardens public housing projects in the northeast section of the city. Snow says it was there that he became involved in a cycle of fighting, drinking, stealing, and getting caught on the wrong side of the law. He never put much effort into school and even had a lot of trouble reading. So when he dropped out in the 9th grade, it was no surprise. As he was growing up, Snow had a strong interest in rock music. But by the early 80s, when he entered his early teens, there was an influx of Jamaican immigrants to his neighborhood due to a change in the country's immigration policies. His musical interests then shifted to what his new neighbors were listening to, reggae. Snow became skilled at the use of the Jamaican dialect, or patois, and developed his own style of music by blending dancehall and reggae with rock and pop. The catalyst to really blowing up Snow's career would be the last thing anyone would think could have such a positive result. 2 people would be stabbed during an incident at a hotel party he attended, instigated by Snow singing for the crowd that gathered outside in the parking lot after a fire broke out. The girls loved the impromptu performance. The guys did not. Some of the people pointed the finger at Snow, and he was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder.
Easy, yeah. Is that what you've been shimmying to? Yeah, I
Rather
like
than
that
tell
music.
authorities who the real perpetrator was, Snow chose to keep his mouth shut and ended up serving 8 months in jail awaiting trial. While he was locked up, he focused his energy into writing music. One song in particular would take him to the top of the charts and make him internationally known. Snow's debut album, 12 Inches of Snow, was produced at lightning speed in the US and released in January 1993. The process needed to move quickly because Snow had to return to Canada in a timely fashion to report to prison to pay another debt to society after getting into an argument with a man and beating him up. He later pled guilty to assault causing bodily harm and served 8 months of his 1-year sentence. Up to this point, Snow had been charged with various offenses over 24 times, and when it was all said and done, he would end up serving a total of 3.5 years behind bars altogether. In fact, his album launched while he was locked up. By the time Snow was released, his debut single, Informer, inspired by the party fight and following stint in jail, was a chart-topping hit. The album captured the number 5 spot on the Billboard Albums chart, and Informer remained number 1 on the Hot 100 for 7 consecutive weeks. Informer has also ended up in the Guinness Book of World Records twice as the best-selling reggae single in US history, as well as the highest charting reggae single ever.
All right, so that's the first point that I want to rest on. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I don't want to take no credit away from no artist in it. Every artist is an individual. They got their own tracks. They do their own thing in it. You know, they got their own little style or whatever. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, I'm not going to take that away from dude. But really and truthfully, explain to me how this is the biggest selling reggae track of all time in America. Explain that, bro. This piece of pop.
Yo, I just want to say you highlighted Rich LK troll message saying Batty Man. Batty Man. Oh,
Because he's fine. I don't know, man. I don't know why. Do you know what? You see what I say? Yeah, this is my philosophy. Yeah, my haters are my biggest fans, and I think that's like 92 Dread and Trillis, not Rich LK's kind of little thing where
good philosophy.
My man's a hater, but he's a fan also in it. But I'm not hating it on no one in it. Like maybe like we should just drop that foolishness now and stop saying that shit. But like obviously, I just wanted to stick on that point for a second. This tune is the #1 selling reggae tune in America. For how long? That don't make no sense, cuz. That's not even reggae, cuz. What is this? What Informer? You know, said that snowman I go blam. I lick your boom boom down.
Well,
like,
it was early stages. It was the early stage, the fledgling stages of that type of music in it, that American type of youth.
Brethren, that's not even real patois. What's that? Must know. What is that?
I know. It's disrespect, maybe, but even certain people could say that's how. That's how bad it was, boy. It was accidental. It's an accidental part, boy. It's an accidental disrespect.
I listen. I'm not gonna be funny, yeah. Broski, listen. I'm West Indian, innit? My parents are Jamaican. When I listen to this brother's tune, I don't know what the hell he's saying. I had to put it on earlier on with the subtitles on to even realize what the man was saying. You understand?
You know,
now what he's talking, bro. What he's talking some wickedness in it. But I'm just gonna say this: I had to get subtitles up to know what this guy's saying.
You know, say that Snow,
Well,
we are gonna blind them, like blaze them, innit? We are gonna blind them. Yeah, so but someone said that when he say that they lick your bomb down, that means that someone was taking it. Anyway, look, I know that was weird. Do you know what? Like, and the message behind that, I don't even want to know, innit? Like, that's like, like that's the because now it's like they have had 3 different things from that lick your bum down thing. I'm not even really doing
a Kingo. Listen.
I know.
At the end of the day,
Well,
I'm gonna point out 2 things here. This
yeah.
should not have been the top charting reggae tune, for 1. For 2, yeah. I can understand. Yeah, the white boy wanting to do. He wants to do black music. He likes patois, but not being funny, bro. Like when I hear him doing that, it gives me the impression that that's what white people think black people are like. Like that's the level you think. That's the level you put us on.
Well, that's his expression.
One of us, you got to talk like that.
No, that's his expression, isn't it? That's how we wanted to look. I see it. I do see it as a. I think that was a time of acceptance, and I think black people would have done kind of like that was. I think that was a peaceful time compared to now. I think now they've refined. What I've noticed is that you see a lot of people that don't even like police talking. Yo, hello. Police like talking like black people.
Yeah.
Like I'm hearing people that literally have the mannerisms of black people. Yeah, but they're presenting on on TV. Can you hear me? They're presenting on YouTube. Yeah, like and they've like they're police, but they're talking black. Like they're white people, but they're talking like with a black attitude, swag. They've like kind of. It's like they've tried to usurp even certain things now. I'm like hearing white dudes introducing their podcast saying peace, love, and light. Like, what the fuck? I've never heard no white dude say some shit like that. Yeah, and I'm hearing that now from just random. I don't even know what they're even talking about. It wasn't even that interesting. But when he introduced that, and it was like just some random topic he was talking about. It was like I don't even know. It was about. I think it was about crypto. Yeah, it was about crypto. The brother was like some random white dude, peace, love, and light, and then he'd sound, but the way he said it was like obviously how black people are saying in America now, but like you could hear they had no type of, he didn't even really sound too hood. So it was like it was like these sort of like educated people, you know, them brothers that are locked into. Like these religion, like these, like I don't know, man, how to even say it. These media nerds.
Kingo, you see that one there?
Whole little follow fashion.
You see what you're talking?
Yeah, go on.
You see what you're talking about there? I can take that one more because at the end of the day, why are you gonna take a negative personality and portray that as what you think is black? Why wouldn't you take something positive? Do you feel where I'm coming from?
Well, yeah, but that was the whole frequency of the planet. It's been like you, if you don't say certain things, you're not even gonna get up on that stage. So you've got to drop something that's kind of with the times, and that was with the times. Admittedly, even M came in and changed the whole game. But I think at that stage, it was at a time when white people were so like scared and so non-existent in these particular things that were stereotypically black, that it was uncool for a white person to do that because black people were
I can take Eminem more though. I can take Eminem more for this reason.
He was respected. Because he wasn't because
he's got his own personality, fam.
It was because he was good.
You have to remember, yeah, Eminem's got his own personality, fam. The things Eminem raps about, yeah, I don't hear black rappers rapping about stuff like what he's rapping about. Like all of that madness when he raps about his mums, and he says some mad stuff, bro. He talking about Stan and he told his fans.
Are you a fan of his lyrics? Are you
I'll
a
be
fan of
honest
his
with you,
lyrics?
yeah.
You rate
I
you
think
rate him?
me personally, I think that Eminem is one of the best people at putting words together lyrically. He's one of the best at putting words together. What he's actually talking about is not necessarily my cup of tea. It's not necessarily up my street. But that's what I'm saying to you. Like, he's got his own personality. Do you understand? You know, like when you watch Marvel, when you watch Avengers, you got the Black Panther, yeah? And then you got Thor Odinson. They're not the same, cuz they're not trying to be like each other. Do you feel what I'm trying to say like that? And a man's portraying himself. And even if a man like Thor went to Wakanda and joined up with the Black Panthers, he's going to be like, there was a white, remember in the Black Panther, you got the white boy who joins up with the Black Panther and he's the white tiger or something like that. But he's his own thing. Do you understand? What's his name again? Is it Winter Soldier or whoever it is? But the point I'm making, cuz, yeah, it's like my man's had to get this negative personality and portray it in a black way. Why'd you have to do that? Why you couldn't portray it in your Irish way? Do you know, like that? And then on top of it, you've gone to your brethren, you said to your brethren, teach me patois, get me up to speed. Your brethren helps you out. Yeah, so you've gone to our community, the West Indian community. We've got you where you need to be. Now you've met the right people. Man gave you a style to run with and gave you a name to run with. You just run off into the day. Listen,
Wait, what?
but
Okay.
listen, I'm
No,
gonna
no,
play
I
the
hear.
rest of this. I'm gonna play the
Yeah, it's
rest
a
of
piss
this.
take, innit? It is a piss
I'm gonna
take.
play the rest of this so you get it. I'm gonna play it. What? Listen.
A second single, Girl I've Been Hurt, also became a top 20 hit. Many reggae purists, though, viewed Snow, along with other artists such as Ani Kamosi, Diana King, UB40, and Shaggy, as another example of watered down commercial reggae that rose to international popularity in the 90s. The sketch comedy show In Living Color even parodied Snow's #1 hit by featuring fellow Canadian Jim Carrey as Snow in a sketch titled Imposter. Snow, no doubt, was pleased to have achieved such tremendous success straight out of the gate, but one person in particular who felt he played an integral role on Snow's journey was not happy about how his contribution was ignored and disrespected. Upon Snow's release from jail in the late 80s, a Jamaican-born DJ by the name of Marvin Prince would see him perform at a party, and the two became fast friends. Marvin claims to have helped Snow refine his reggae singing ability and knowledge of Jamaican dialect. They even used Marvin's basement as their regular practice. That he was the one to give Snow his famous stage name.
I got my name 5 years ago from DJ Prince. He gave me the name Snow. I met him during, when we were outside of a party and stuff, and then he named me Snow.
Snow can go two ways. The American way can be because a white boy doing Jamaican music, right? And the Jamaican way, which my culture is break it down for subvert notorious outrageous white boy.
Have a clue.
My real name's Darren. Drink a beer and punching him off if this interview don't come out right.
Marvin revealed to the Los Angeles Times that they passed around a lot of tapes and got a lot of positive feedback. That is, until he revealed that Snow was white.
What do you think about Maverick Sabre?
I don't know. I'm not even gonna get into Maverick Sabre. I think Maverick Sabre,
Caribbean, isn't it? Go on.
I think Maverick Sabre's alright. I'll be honest. I've met Maverick Sabre. He's alright, dude. I ain't got no problem with him. Right now, I just want to deal with this guy. Now, what I'm saying to you is, check what they just said. Yeah, a man named him. A man taught him the dialect. Yeah, a man said he said it himself. He's confirming it, cuz. Yeah. Hold up. What was the last thing they said? Let me rewind that back a little bit just to refresh my memory. Hold up. What did he say? Let's go back a little bit.
I met him during, when we were outside of a party and stuff, and then he named me Snow.
Snow can go two ways. The American way can be because a white boy doing Jamaican music, right? And Jamaican way, which my culture is break it down to super notorious outrageous white boy.
My real name is Darren O'Brien. Try don't come out right.
Marvin revealed to the Los Angeles Times a lot of tapes and got a lot of positive feedback. That is until he.
Got a man saying that he's got man eat from the, from the ground up. Like he helped build a man from when he was nothing into something. No one were even interested. Like, in fact, they were interested, but they weren't interested because they're saying no one want to hear the white boy. Yeah, but this black you was insistent. He weren't having it. Yeah, you're gonna give my brethren a pass. Yeah, so let's play the video. Let's play the video.
On a trip to New York City, Marvin was able to pitch Snow's music to hip-hop artist MC Shan, and in 1991, Snow traveled there to meet him. It would be one of the...
All right, so my man weren't even there. He went on his own accord, went and pitched a man's music to MC Shan, and got him in with the right people. Before years later, my man's turned up, Yeah, check that one out.
The last time Snow would be allowed over the border, since just 2 years later, he would be banned for life from ever setting foot on U.S. soil again. Japan would also follow suit and ban the artist from the country due to his criminal record. Shan introduced Snow to music producers David Eng and Steve Salem, who ultimately decided to sign him to their record label. A few years later, while on tour as Snow's DJ, in late 1994, Marvin abruptly left after discovering that Snow was receiving more money from management than he was. After their falling out, Marvin sued Snow for compensation. While listed as a writer on only one song on Snow's album, Marvin claimed to have co-written 5, including Informer. He also claimed to be a co-producer along with Shan, David, and Steve. Marvin insisted that he and Snow had an oral agreement that the two would split the profits from the album 50-50. He also admitted, though, that these discussions weren't concrete and that they never organized a formal business plan. Shan, David, and Steve testified in court that they were unaware of a partnership between Snow and Marvin, and Shan denied that Marvin co-produced the album and co-wrote the songs in question. In the end, Marvin did win a $1.5 million settlement by jury, 3 times the amount he requested. However, it would later be overturned by a judge, and the suit dismissed on the grounds that Marvin had no viable claims to a partnership with Snow. When it was time to get back in the studio to work on his next project, Snow knew it was time to go to Jamaica. He made his way there and partially recorded his second album on the island, titled Murder Love. It didn't turn out to be...
So do you see where we're going with?
He ran away with the tool. He ran away with the bag.
All right. So after a man snaked his brethren, man said, it's time to go Jamaica. Listen, a man went to Jamaica now to go and coach a boat drop and more. Look, let's just watch this, man. I don't want to talk too much. Watch this thing.
Be a commercial success in North America, but the experience allowed him to work with many reggae and dancehall musicians such as Ninja Man, Beanie Man, Junior Reid, and Buju Banton. The lead single, Siwi Dem Nonowi, as did the second single.
See we them know we. Do you hear that nonsense? How'd she say it like that? Is she trying to make people laugh?
Thing for You. 1997, Snow. His third album, Justice, named after his daughter, released in January. The first single, Bits compilation, dropped. He also got into more trouble with the law and ended up with another assault charge. But after listening to the judge praise him for all his good deeds, while also pointing out that a lot of his issues stemmed from drinking, Snow decided to stop and hasn't touched alcohol since. Over the next 5 years, Snow released another 3 albums and achieved chart-topping success in his native land again with 2000's Everybody Wants to Be Like You and 2002's Legal. In 2009, Snow would suffer a major personal loss. Common law wife his songs Tammy Edberg, passed away from uterine cancer after being diagnosed. Governmental organization Snow benefit concerts and makes charitable appearances to hand out goods like backpacks full of school supplies to children living in public housing. In 2013,
Right. Now, this is the next point I want to point out. Man that get rich off of, patois and black people's music. But man don't
Yo, Shift, you cut out for a long time, Wow.
you gotta clean up your own house.
Yo, Shift, you're cutting out, brother. You're cutting out a lot. For the last 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You gotta start again.
You're on hold on a Yahoo. Give me a second while I patch you through. The CEO didn't like the whole music, so that is so I wrote this jam for you.
Make your summer
Yeah,
epic
they said
with the
you went a
Samsung
bit mad
Galaxy
for a second
S22.
there. I don't know what's going on there. Let me rewind it back a little bit when it comes back.
Another
Yo, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yo.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
I can
me?
hear you still, but my signal went bad for a second there.
Yeah,
yours
yours is.
back a little bit.
Bruv, you know what? Yeah, literally, viewers will flood in if your mic is good. That's literally it. That's literally it. The only thing.
All right, let me go back a little bit.
During a
Obviously,
fourth quarter
maybe
earnings call, Snow
visual,
recorded
bro.
a much publicized jingle for the web service provider.
You're on hold on a Yahoo. Give me a second while I patch you through.
Snow NGO, which assists tenants living in nonprofit housing. He holds benefit concerts and makes charitable appearances to hand out goods like backpacks full of school supplies to children living in public housing. In 2013, after Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer complained about the company's hold music during a fourth quarter earnings call, Snow recorded a much publicized jingle for the web service provider.
You're on hold on a Yahoo. Give me a second while I patch you through. The CEO didn't like the whole music, so that is so I wrote this jam for you.
After a long break from the music scene, which Snow says was due to him just not feeling the business part of the music business and not wanting to participate in it anymore, he popped up again in 2014 with a new outlook, a new deal, and began recording again. He was also finally able to get his ban from traveling to the US lifted. His first stop was Miami, Florida, to meet up and work with famed Grammy-winning producers Cool and Dre. In October of that year, his new single, Shame, was released, featuring Michael Rose of Jamaican reggae group Black Uhuru. The song details his departure and return to music, as well as the pride he possesses for the multi-ethnic influences that have shaped his career. Snow also announced that all proceeds from the song would be donated to the fight against cancer, a tribute to his late wife who passed 5 years prior. Snow did find love again and in 2016 married model and actress Tara Elizabeth Singh. Also around this time, Snow established DKO Music Group, an independent record label specializing in a number of different music genres like urban, dancehall, reggae, reggaeton, hip-hop, and R&B. The company also offers an abundance of other services, such as management, production, and distribution, just to name a few. In January 2019, Puerto Rican rapper Daddy Yankee released the reggaeton dancehall song Con Calma, featuring Snow. The single peaked at number 6 on the Canadian Hot 100 and number 22 on Billboard Hot 100, becoming Snow's first entry on the chart since 1993, and reached number 1 on the US Hot Latin Songs list, as well as over a dozen Spanish-speaking countries. Snow and Daddy Yankee won the top Latin Song of the Year at the US Billboard Music Awards, as well as half a dozen Latin Billboard Music Awards. Snow kept the Latin plus dancehall theme going by dropping the single Together in 2020 and Reason to Love in 2021. In February 2022, Snow surprised everyone with an appearance on DJ Cassidy's Pass the Mic Reggae Edition. Naturally, he blessed everyone with a performance of the song that put him on the map and solidified his place in music history. Thanks for watching. Please like,
All right. So the last thing I'm going to say on this year. So after all the culture vulturing, a man starts a record label. Yeah. And he's probably just using that record label to vulture into more cultures, Kaz. Because next thing, you're on Daddy Yankee. Now, a man's flipped it. It's no longer reggae. It's now reggaeton. I should have laughed. So he's very smart at what he does. And you have to be careful with the culture vultures. Because really and truthfully, like them man like Daddy Yankee and them man that do that reggaeton thing, they were big in their own right. They didn't need my man. Do you know, like that? I don't know if they wanted to remix the tune or if my man just affiliated himself to them. Just like he affiliated himself to, you know, who was it? Michael Rose or whoever. I don't know who they mentioned. Yeah, I'm not even going to go into this no more. I'm going to leave it where it is. You don't make your own decisions, innit? You make your own analysis, B. I'm not here to talk for you. Like, I told you my thoughts on it. My man's a big culture vulture. And the thing is, yeah, when people eat from your culture and they're not from your culture, they ain't sharing it with your culture. Do you feel where I'm coming from? So we got to be careful with this stuff, guys. Got to be careful. Yeah? But I got a bit of a sore throat, but we're going to continue. The show must go on. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. Let's move on. I think we done that. We done that dance. That dance is done. All right. So the next thing I want to bring up here, let me show you lot something else now. Boom, bam, 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 bam. Let me make sure I get the right thing furthermore. Because I got a few different things to show you lot about. No, in fact, no, we're not doing that one first. We're going to leave that to the last. All right. Which one am I going to start with? I think what I'm going to start with, yeah, I don't know if it was Natty 2 Dread or if it was Sham or if it was someone else. Yeah. But we had a conversation about about Nephilim and fallen angels. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, continue.
Yo, Kingo, can you hear me still?
I can. But
Yeah.
the audio is like so close to being a 1 at the moment out of 10. Yeah, go on. Yeah, hey.
Yeah, my
Sorry,
voice is gone.
To be very, very
my
honest.
voice is gone.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
We had a conversation, yeah, about Nephilim and fallen angels and them things, yeah. Now I'm saying, all right, bam. I said to these man, when you're talking about Nephilims and fallen angels, and you know, you got different cultures. Like you got the Greek, the Roman, you got the Egyptian, you got Sumerian, and the thing that kind of links up all of these cultures is this whole theory of Nephilim, where, you know, offspring of some type of alien or deity, yeah, mixed with human, yeah. And I remember someone kind of confronting me about it, like there was an argument of this. So I thought, you know what? I was watching Pinero's Mind, and he explained it so much that he explained it in such detail in this video. I don't think it's Pinero's Mind speaking, but whoever the narrator is, he explained it in so much detail. more than what we had on the show. And I just thought, let me just play this video and you lot might get where I'm going with this. Hold up. I've got it. I had to make sure I got the right video. All right, boom, bam. Let me get this video. Go up now. So if I just copy and paste that in there.
I discovered the 8 immortal kings of Samaria lived a total of 241,000.
All right, that wasn't it.
Rabbi Yeshua HaMashiach, and he says that when the Son of Man returns, it will be like the days of Noah, which begs the question: what differentiates the days of Noah than any other time?
Let's go back.
Biblical Genesis. The other one is found in what is known as the Book of Enoch. But there's also other mentions of the Nephilim and other works of antiquity, such as Josephus, a first century Jewish historian, who wrote about that the bones of these creatures were apparently openly displayed in Jerusalem at the time of his writing. And of course, this is first century. So, very strange. But let me answer it this way: that according to the mythos from both of these, or the story, now, and the reason why I call it mythos, let me define that. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I only have these documents that tell us that this is what happened. So either you believe it or you don't believe it. And what I find interesting is that if there was only one source, it would be perhaps a Kennard or Spurrier. But the fact that there's more than one source, for instance, you've got the Genesis account, you've got the Book of Enoch, you've also had the Book of Jared, you've got Josephus commenting on them and others. And then we seem to have like remnants. In other words, not only skeletons have we seen, giant bones, whatever, but we also see perhaps the remnant of the Nephilim. And so, in other words, what they may have constructed on the planet during their brief stay here. So the Nephilim, according to the Book of Genesis and the Book of Enoch, is the offspring of fallen angels and the women of earth. And I realize that is just, some of your listeners are going, what?
Right.
I don't blame you, because it's freaky stuff. It's really, really freaky stuff. But when you get into it and you start to, especially the Book of Enoch, Genesis in the biblical account is kind of a truncated view of the event. It's no more than really several paragraphs. That's it. The Book of Enoch, on the other hand, is the whole tome is devoted to discovering and trying to, well, not amplifying, let's say, that Genesis 6 account, not discovering, but amplifying that. So what you read is, in the Genesis, is kind of like a Cliff Note version.
Right.
The sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair and desired them, and took whoever they wanted for wives. And the offspring of that became the Nephilim, mighty men of renown. The Book of Enoch lists names, places, what happened, how big they were, what they did, the quid pro quo between the fallen angels and the men of earth before they could have access to the female population. I mean, it's really, really bizarre stuff. All that to say that the Nephilim, of course, were never supposed to be here. In other words, this is an abomination. This is literally interbreeding between two different species that just was not supposed to happen. I also believe that, and we've got this from Greek mythology, that some of the Titans, let's say, linguistically and even the storyline can be traced back to this Genesis 6, or this Enochian, if I can use that word, the Enochian account of the fallen angels coming to earth, cohabiting with the women, and the offspring being the Nephilim or the Nephilim.
Right. Now let's talk real quickly too, just again to give our listeners some background, because a lot of the people.
So you heard what he said, yeah? He said even the Titans, even these things that they're talking about in Greece and in Rome, can all be traced back to the same thing. Yeah. Now, another thing that he points out in this video, yeah, I just remembered it just popped up into my head, because I was saying to these man, yeah, a man was saying the Bible's not complete. The Bible is not complete. The Bible is complete. Yeah. And the books that you say ain't in there, like this book right here is talking about the Book of Enoch. Okay, I'm not going to argue. The Book of Enoch ain't in every Bible. In fact, I haven't got a Bible with the Book of Enoch in it. But I tell you this much. It's mentioned in it. So if it's mentioned, then it must have purpose in accordance with. And then if it's mentioned, then it must be an extension of. So
1 second, brother. 1 second. I like the way you frame that.
Biblical Bible.
Can I address what you just said there, please? You said it must have purpose. It must have purpose, but I can create something, an airplane, throw it. And my purpose is to make you believe that it's real, but really, it's got no motor. It's going to go nowhere. But if you've never seen a plane before, that wrong. But if you've never seen a plane before, you'll think that that might fly forever because I told you that it flies forever, right?
You're right.
Because it's got purpose doesn't mean necessarily, brother. Let me make my point, bro. Can I make my point? Sorry. The purpose only means it doesn't mean that. Anyway, sorry, brother. I kind of lost my train of thought, bro. I can't hear you.
I think you see the point you're making, yeah? You see the point you're making. If I didn't say in accordance with the Bible, then it would make sense. But if we're just going in accordance with the Bible, yeah? If the Bible is mentioned in that book, then it must have some credence in the Bible. It must represent the Bible in some way. Because the Bible's told you about it. It's mentioned it. It's now relying upon that text to some extent. The same way when I was saying, you know, if the Quran is mentioned in the Bible or mentioned in these other books, it must rely upon them in some way, in the same regard. So that's all I'm saying. But
okay, all right, fair enough. All right, so you're showing a connection between the
yeah, that's all.
Okay. All right. And do you necessarily agree with the purpose? And is the purpose something that you would say that was done by your ancestors? And if it was done by your ancestors, is it currently being controlled by them now? And is it yeah. So like the people who are heading, I'm saying the people who are heading the I don't know. Was it Ptolemy? Was it Ptolemaic line?
Okay.
Is that like the people who are heading that? Ain't they the people who are basically the people who you believe are the people that you guys basically descend from? Ptolemaic line, right?
No.
Ptolemy was your forefathers, right? Your forefathers.
Nope.
No. So Ptolemy was a forefather for what Israelites. So if Ptolemy wrote pretty much what we know today as one of the earliest forms of the Bible, where was he from? Was he black or was he white? What does that mean then?
He would have been a Macedonian.
Huh?
He was Macedonian. Yeah, he would have been a Macedonian.
All right, because ultimately, the way I'm breaking it down is where's the information from? So for me, my information is from my name, landmass, thousands and thousands. I'd say arguably millions or millions of years old proof and genetic markers and everything to show that I am actually a deity, a supposed deity, a material worshipped person. So I'm saying, entity. Yeah. So it's.
I got the answer.
Where's it come from? Like, where's that come from? Where's the source? Where's the source?
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you.
Where's the line? Where's the lineage?
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. Hold up. I'm gonna show you. We don't have to talk about this because I'm gonna show you. Watch.
And who's leading it now? Who's is it? The
to
people
come from a
controlling
religious
it,
ilk will
yeah?
not
The people.
recognize the Book of Enoch from the Bible, which is strange again because the book was not put into the finalized Bible that we have, but it's referenced throughout the Bible, and it's actually a book that was written and tells kind of a darker side and a different part of the Bible history, and it just was never included. Although the strange conundrum again is that they refer to it throughout the Bible, correct?
Correct. They actually refer to it in three different places. One is the book of Jude, the other one is 2 Peter, and then Paul alludes to it in Corinthians. So the book was widely read. I mean, it's found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Is it part of the canon? No, it's not part of the canon. But we can certainly appreciate its historicity and look back and say that, you know, if this is true, and I kind of believe it's very much true, then what are we looking at? Interestingly enough, there's a quote attributed to the first century rabbi, Yeshua HaMashiach, and he says that when the Son of Man returns, it will be like the days of Noah, which begs the question, what differentiates the days of Noah than any other time in history? And, of course, it is the presence of the fallen angels. I mean, history, as far as we know it, is pretty much linear. I mean, things have gone on, and yes, there's technology, and from the Industrial Revolution to the time that we live in now, there's a huge upsurge in technology and human revelation. I'll admit to that. But basically, what differentiates the days of Noah from any other time in history, in my opinion, is the presence of the B'nai Elohim, which is the fallen angels dwelling on the earth, which begs the question again, are we looking at that right now? Is it similar? In other words, and this, of course, ties into the whole UFO thing, are we looking at a similarity between what happened with the fallen angels thousands and thousands of years ago and what is happening now? And in my opinion...
Now check what he said. He said it ties in with the whole UFO thing. I'm going to stop it right there. If anyone wants to watch this video, you know Pinero's Mind is the channel. Go over there, have a look, run up them views, like learn what's going on with this thing. But I'm going to say this, yeah?
Can I ask you a question? I'm going to ask you, I want to know, one second, brother. One second.
Before you ask this question, let me just finish this.
I'm a participant, but you're not even really giving me the opportunity to speak, brother.
Look, I'm going to let you ask your question after this, yeah? Just let me just say one thing, because I'm trying to teach the people something. If I go to ancient Greece, yeah, or I go to ancient Rome, yeah, we're going to find demigods. We're going to find what is known as gods, or, you know, deities having children with men and women, yeah, and creating demigods, yeah. If you go to the Bible, yeah, or if you go into even some older philosophies like Sumerian, you're going to find the same thing. The Bible, you're going to find angels having children with men and women, yeah, or angels having children with women, to the point, yeah, in the Bible. If we go Sumerian, we're going to find the same thing. We're going to find Gilgamesh, yeah, and Gilgamesh's dad is half god, half man, yeah. So Gilgamesh's dad is a Nephilim, yeah, to that effect, yeah, or some kind of half deity, yeah. Gilgamesh's mum is a deity, so he's like 3/4 deity. Do you feel where I'm coming from? Now, this is a weird one when you get to that Sumerian one, because we've only heard in the Bible about the the angels sleeping with women. We never heard about angels sleeping with men. But then I thought about it. Hold on, Gilgamesh's dad ain't actually a man; he's a demigod, because he's half a. Do you understand? So now there's all different dimensions to this thing, and I'm saying that all of these things are connected. And the more you look into it, like I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg here, but the more you look into it, the more you'll see the connections and the indigenous story that is consistent across the planet. It don't just stop in one place. Even this whole alien thing, it don't stop in one place. It keeps going. And if it's being spoken about in so many places, they're talking about the same thing and relating it back to the same place. Where there's smoke, there's fire. That's the first thing. But I want to listen to your questions, Kingo, before I move on.
Yeah, I can't remember now. I forgot. No, I'll continue, bro. Yeah, they weren't that important. They weren't that important. I was just trying to. I just don't really like lose my train of thought because it's shit. I can't multitask like that. But yeah, I'm trying to do something as well. But go on, continue.
All right, we've done that one. Yeah. I've given you lot something that you can go and look at, yeah. And seeing as we're on aliens and stuff like that, yeah, I think we're just gonna just stay on that theme for a minute, yeah.
What aliens? You want to know about aliens? What? So okay, so let me just ask a question. Yeah, now. Okay. So about the Nephilim, yeah. The Nephilim.
Yeah.
Tall people. Were they tall, short, big, fat? Really tall people, yeah.
Giants.
Yeah, and they okay. So can we say that at the earlier stages of the coming together of civilization, the different body types would have determined, yeah, where they would have got to, and what tribes would become obviously meshed together, obviously, right? Because different tribes have different type of body types, right? So the tall, slim ones, the small, short, strong barrel ones, like the hello.
Oh, sorry about that. Go on. You're saying the short ones.
The short ones are
like the pygmies and that.
Yeah, the pygmies would have been in the trees. Okay, the pygmies would have been more small, scared, defensive. Would have been more aggressive. And they would have been less likely to be a adventurous type, right? Because they had everything they needed in the Congo and in the various little sort of very dense bush area, you know. And anyway, so
I'll be honest, Kingo, you see that one there? I don't know, because I'll be honest with you, yeah. The reason I say I don't know, yeah, is because you see when I get into this next video, yeah, I'ma say this. I've been on Mars. Yeah, and I had to tell them come out my yard, but they still keep coming back. Now I'm playing, but what I'm gonna say to you is this, yeah. Obviously, we're relating everything that we know to this planet we know, the one that we're on. But this is what I'm saying to you. It's like I believe things go a lot deeper than that. That's why I got this next video up for you now. I want you to look at this and tell me your thoughts. Yeah. Because you see the last video, yeah, we were talking about Nephilim, and we were talking about, you know, obviously giants. Then we're talking about angels or aliens or gods or whatever we're talking about. Now watch this, yeah. Cause this one here, I didn't even know about this one here. Watch this.
Has the distinct shape of a keyhole. Virginia, 2013. Cydonia Institute researcher George Haas is combing through images of Mars when something catches his eye. A large formation protruding from the surface of the planet that displays extraordinary symmetry. He is struck by the fact that there are no other large geographical features around it, and it has the distinct shape of a keyhole.
When you initially look at it, it looks like something that someone made. So when scientists are looking for signs of activity on another planet, they're looking for structural symmetry, determining if this is possibly just something nature made or something that humans or extraterrestrials had a hand in. What we're seeing on Mars could be evidence of intelligent design by some unknown extraterrestrial culture.
The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter took amazing detailed maps of pretty much the whole surface. It's very much worth humanity's while to travel there and find out for sure, are these artificial or not?
Could it be that this strangely symmetrical formation on Mars is really an artificial structure built by an extraterrestrial race. For ancient astronaut theorists, what makes this image even more intriguing is the fact that strikingly similar man-made structures exist here on Earth. Osaka, Japan. Today, this bustling metropolis is famous as one of Japan's cultural centers of food, fashion, and finance. But in its southern suburb of Sakai lies an ancient and mysterious monument, a megalithic tomb called Daisen Kofun.
It rises up 35 feet above the surrounding area and is 1,600 feet long and 980 feet wide, and it's encircled by 3 moats, making the entire edifice cover a space of 5 million square feet.
You can only really appreciate what it represents by going up into the air and looking down on it, because you then see that it's an enormous keyhole shape.
The Daisen Kofun is merely the largest of more than 160,000 kofuns that dot Japan.
There are hundreds of these tombs built between around 300 AD to around 600 AD, all over Japan. So what were these? Were these really just 200 AD to around 600 AD? These tombs.
160,000 kofuns that dot Japan. Largest of more than 160,000 kofuns that dot Japan.
There are hundreds of these tombs built between around 300 AD to around 600 AD, all over Japan. So what were these? Were these really just tombs built for emperors and kings, or were they something else altogether?
The keyhole shape can only be seen from the air. And we're told that the ancient Japanese did not have a means of getting into the sky to appreciate this shape. So there's a great mystery here about why the keyhole shape.
Some researchers suggest that the purpose of the keyhole shape can be traced back to the first kofun ever built.
The first of these tombs is associated with the first historical Japanese emperor, Emperor Sujin, in whose record in the book of ancient mythology, the Kojiki, a keyhole of a door actually also plays an important part.
According to the story in the Kojiki, a young woman becomes impregnated by a powerful god who comes to her room through a keyhole, then gives birth to semi-divine children. Another story from the same texts tells that the Japanese royal family are all descendants of Amaterasu, who came from the celestial plane.
So, what's the deal here? Why do we have these stories of someone coming from the sky? They also describe them as having come down from their celestial palace, which is called Takamagahara. It's right there. Our ancestors did not have words for extraterrestrials.
All right, Kingo, talk to me, man. Where's your mind at now? Talk to me, brother. Yeah? Anyone who's at home, I hope you're listening and learning. Yeah? Now, someone explain to me, why is that structure on Mars the same shape, the same thing we're finding on our planet? And then when we go back to the earliest one that they can identify to an emperor, there's stories of deities having intercourse with humans and breeding again. Do you understand? And all of these stories have the same connection. Aliens or deities breeding with humans, yeah, creating a new strain. Yeah, and you know, they're talking about like heavenly palaces and celestial planes. We done astral planes before. It always ends up here, bro. It don't matter what culture we go into, and that's why I said to you, it's better I show you, Because you see, if I just talk, talking's cheap. Sometimes we just gotta just show you what we saw, or show you what's going on, or show you what they showed us, so you can kind of get where our minds are. But we ain't done yet. We ain't done. We ain't done. Hold up. I got another one for you. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna do this one, yeah, and then after that, for you science buds, we're gonna break one of your toys today. We're gonna break one of your toys, yeah, just so you know, yeah, and don't be upset. Don't be upset, yeah. Now, my voice is broken, yeah, broken in the way we about to break science. Hold up. Alright, listen. Oh man, King, I think you're gonna like this one, you know. I think you're really gonna, if you like the last one, you're gonna like this one. Yeah. And listen,
bruv, you know what? I love you, Shift, man. But man, you love to preach, bruv. You preach, man. Are you presenting or are you preaching, my bro?
Bro, you see this next one, yeah? What I want you to do, listen very carefully to the way they explain away this phenomenon, yeah. And I'm calling it a phenomenon, yeah. I could call it a miracle, but I'm gonna call it a phenomenon because you said I'm preaching.
Of all the planets in the solar system besides Earth, none has been explored quite so thoroughly or continuously as the red planet, Mars. So much so that by now we've grown accustomed to seeing those grainy, ethereal images of a literal alien world taken by any one of the various rovers that have traveled its surface over the years. But every now and then, an image is beamed back from Mars that gains more attention than usual. And this latest shot has certainly roused a long-standing extraterrestrial debate. This is Unveiled, and today we're answering the extraordinary question, did scientists just discover a doorway on Mars?
Do you need the big questions answered? Are you constantly curious? Then why not subscribe to Unveiled for more clips like this one and ring the bell for more thought-provoking content.
For decades now, Mars has been subject to numerous alien conspiracy theories. In the vastness of space, this world is Earth's next-door neighbor, so it's easy to see why humankind has been so enamored with it over the years, and why our species, having realized the likelihood that aliens exist, might then expect them to have set up home on the next planet along from us. Because why not? And while there are various argued reasons as to why Mars wouldn't make a good home for life, the possibility that some form of something could be eking out an existence up there has never really disappeared. It's not surprising, then, that a recently published NASA image seeming to show a doorway cut into a rock face on Mars has breathed new life into alien ideas. The image in question was captured by the Curiosity rover, which has been operational on Mars since August 2012. And there's no doubt that there's cause for at least a double take. Not only does the image show a near-perfect rectangular opening in the surrounding rock, but there also appears to be a path to that opening and layered rock to the side of it as if to provide some camouflage. It looks as though you could simply walk through the doorway into the rock face, where inside there could supposedly be all kinds of alien activity going on, otherwise hidden from view. It could just as well double up as a set on a science fiction movie, but we know that this image really was taken on Mars. It's not a fake. What it shows is really there. But still, scientists have quickly pointed out that what we're actually seeing isn't really a door. Instead, it's merely an ordinary and quite expected rock formation created over millions, perhaps billions of years worth of deep geological and natural processes. It's broadly said to be the result of cracks in the rock face that have split and opened over Martian history to form something that, in this case, looks uncannily like it must have been carved by intelligent hand. The true size of what we're seeing is also a sticking point, however, as although it may at first appear to be roughly the same size as most standard doorways as we know them, this doorway is actually less than 2 feet tall. Of course, as yet, nobody knows the dimensions that alien life might take, and there's reason to think that it wouldn't be human-like, despite what most sci-fi films imply. But the general point is that this opening is actually quite a small one, and it's perhaps then even easier to imagine that it could have been created via natural processes only. In fact, scientists say that really, it's not even reliant on specifically Martian conditions, with the same or similar formations known to have formed on Earth as well. It's also been suggested that the nearby separate piece of rock in the image is important, as it may have been what became dislodged to
I'm going to be honest, yeah. That was the point where I had enough of this video. If you don't really want to see it, you can see the name of the title of the video, go and watch it. But you notice the previous video I watched it and I played for you guys. The guy said you can see similar construct or similar structures to that keyhole structure that's on Mars to on Earth. Yeah. And he showed you them on Earth. He didn't just say it. Now I can play the rest of this video, but I'm telling you, he don't show you nothing that looks like this on Earth. In fact, I'm just gonna play some more of it so you can see for yourself. But I want you guys look at this doorway. Yeah, look at your phone, make it big, you know, blow out the screen, go watch the video yourself if you want, whatever. And you tell me this ain't a door. Like, come on. And if similar formations have formed on Earth, someone please show me where a rock just decayed into a doorway. All right, you show it to me. But I'm gonna say, you know, at this point, I can't be conclusive because I'm not there in it. I ain't never been there. Yeah. Now, Natty 2 Dread is the first person to say that's a fake. But if you're saying it's a fake, are you saying NASA are faking it? Who's faking it, bro? Because I ain't faking it. Do you know, like that? You can go on NASA's website and find out about it if you like. Go on there. Yeah. And once NASA's telling you that this is what they saw, who's faking it?
No, but just, you know why I said that
you can't trust what you can't see.
You know why I said that you're preaching?
I'm looking.
You know why I said you're preaching? Because
yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's because I feel like you're presenting it like you reckon that this is 100% fact.
See, I'm gonna be honest with you, yeah. I don't know if this is 100% fact. Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you what NASA's saying is true. Yeah. Then, you know, the likelihood that there is life on this planet that we call Mars, it grows. Yeah.
You believe it's 100% fact?
Megalithic structures.
Okay. So you're saying
I'm just gonna say
you believe, or you know it's 100% fact, or you believe. Because if you say you know it's 100% fact, then I'm going to say you
I'm
may
not saying I believe. I'm not saying I believe, all right.
Yeah, but that's what you can really say, though.
I never said I believe it.
And be classed as normal.
Now all I can do. No. All I can do is present the. All I can do is present the information that NASA put out there. So it's up to NASA whether they believe their information is true or not. Yeah, this ain't really my information. I'm just sharing something I saw. Now I'm saying, obviously, some people might believe it, some people might not, but make your own conclusion. But I'm just showing you some stuff that not everyone's seen. And according to NASA, this is real footage. Yeah, even that thing when you saw that keyhole thing, like this is real stuff. This ain't fake, according to them. You understand? So for you man that believe in science, if you're now arguing with NASA and arguing with, you know, your top scientists, I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm just showing you your own things. Yeah, so let me finish this up.
Create the shape that we see now. As to the possibility that the doorway was created via a Marsquake, most analysts and commentators have erred towards not likely. Again, it's variously argued that features like the doorway are often seen on Earth as well, and a regular earthquake isn't needed to form them. Ultimately, the almost universal scientific conclusion on this image is that one way or another, erosion is to blame. But still...
All right. You saw that picture that he said. You find similar structures like this on Earth. That thing didn't look nothing like that doorway, bro. Look at that again. Yeah, have another look. And tell me, did that look the same as that doorway? Let's be honest. That is not the same, bro. They're not one and the same. And this is what I'm saying, that at that point, I lost interest in this, and the guy was just waffling to me, bro. Nah, I ain't got time for this. So I'm gonna lock this one off. But you lot saw for yourself. Like, I'm not telling you it's real. I'm telling you, make up your own minds. Yeah? I'm just showing you some stuff, and you can make up your own mind. Yeah?
Well,
boom, bam.
I hear you. Oh, do you know what? There's so many things that we couldn't fathom when we're told things. Like, for example, yeah. So, like, I could believe that this could be possibly the truth. Yeah, this could, yeah, this might well be reality. This might be actually, you could see this. This could have been a place. But when you think of Africa, example, how they've made you think of Africa, yeah. Do you know in Africa, when you're in Morocco, you're closer to Great Britain than you are to South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the two places in the same continent, but because they've made you not aware of how big Africa is and the sheer size of it, to make you feel like we are sort of like on this sort of impending sort of like genocidal sort of wipeout because of we're so small and the UK and the white man is so competitive because they're equal in size. It's just a joke. So human beings, when we learn stuff, we can be given a reality that is just so fake and it's like everything we know. So like that's why when we hear things that seem supernatural, I'm not gonna just dismiss them anymore. I'm gonna really try and say, is that possible? How could it be possible? Whereas you know, I'm going to take a more of a collective evidence gathering viewpoint and approach to this, you know. So I would look further into it.
Watch this one.
So I could. So it could be true, bro. It could be true, bro. Do you believe it though? Do you believe it yourself?
I'll be honest.
That there's things on Mars.
I wouldn't say that it's something I necessarily believe. I'm just showing you that information that's out there. This is what NASA have put out there, because I can't make this stuff up. Yeah. I want to show you another video. Watch. You see this video here? Yeah. This one here. You see, for that, for instance, like, you see that people like Natty Two Dread who believe in evolution, yeah, and these type of things, yeah. Into this theory-based stuff. Theory can't work. And I'm going to show you why your theory can't work now. I'm going to show you why. Because you see what they do. You see all this carbon dating and radiocarbon dating. You can't radiocarbon date nothing, cuz. And I'm going to show you why. Yeah, watch this. Do you know what? I got the wrong video first. Now I need to show you this other video first, so we can get the scientific breakdown of it first. And then once you got that, then you know we can show you why you can't do it. Yeah, watch this. Boom, bam. All right. I'm ready. Yeah, and I know some of you lot ain't catching this now, but you can catch it later. It's not a thing. It's no rush. Yeah. Boom, bam. So let's go into this. No, I don't know, I'm the wrong flipping page. I almost just cancelled the whole stream yard. Hold up. We can't do that. Let's get this right. All right, back. Here we go.
Oftentimes in archaeology, scientists rely on radiocarbon dating to determine when a person or plant or an animal died, or when a man-made object fashioned from plant or animal material was made. This might be the handle of an axe, the timber of an ancient house, or the clothes of a Viking maiden. Most things that were once living and haven't yet fossilized into rock can be dated this way. And in fact, many things that were never part of a living organism, like the fossilized impressions of human footprints, are also dated this way when scientists find seeds buried at the same geologic strata as those an incredibly powerful tool for our understanding our past. And unfortunately, we can't biochemist named Frederick Soddy element ions of radioactive displacement theory, the leftward motion was given.
God damn, that audio is trash, man. God damn. Yo, so it's Cole Gossip taking over the block, people. I hope you're enjoying your Thursday.
Decay is caused by the spontaneous emission of an electron from the nucleus, which we sometimes call a beta particle. But Soddy had a problem. You see, he'd been tracking the decay chains of various elements in his lab, starting specifically with uranium, and following its decay down the periodic table to lead, 10 steps away to the left. His displacement theory, which held for so many other radioactive elements, couldn't fit the decay chain of uranium. As he worked through all the steps the decay chain must take to reach lead, he discovered that there must be something like 40 different kinds of atoms between lead and uranium. But as any glance at the periodic table will tell you, just as it told him then, there are only 10 elements.
Just forgive us for a second. My brother Schiff is using the hands-free kit.
Lead and uranium. Nevertheless, when he measured the radiation emanating from these unplaceable radioactive atoms, he could discern that some radiated one kind of ray, others a different kind, and some emitted the same kinds of rays but at different intensities. On a hunch, he tested whether these new atoms had new chemical properties, and he found something startling. They behaved chemically like elements that already existed on the periodic table, like polonium and radium, and yet the polonium that came from the decay of radon didn't emit the same kind of radiation as the polonium that came from the decay of bismuth. And there was even a kind of lead that was radioactive and decayed into bismuth, and another kind that wasn't radioactive at all and never decayed in his lab. Soddy had discovered that there were versions of our usual elements that were chemically the same, but radioactively quite different, and he called them isotopes, from the Greek isotopos, meaning in the same place. In this case, the same place on the periodic table. The discovery of neutrons was still many years off from those of elements with the same number of protons but different numbers of neutrons. The radioactive properties of an isotope are determined by charge, which doesn't change between different isotopes of the same element. Now let's look at carbon. The two most common isotopes of carbon in our atmosphere are carbon-12 and carbon-13, which are both extremely stable and not radioactive. But every once in a while you come across an isotope of carbon in the atmosphere that isn't stable. This is carbon-14, and it has a half-life just shy of 6,000 years. Carbon-14 is always produced at a constant rate in the atmosphere by cosmic rays from deep space striking nitrogen-14 isotopes. These cosmic rays induce an inverse beta decay, or a beta plus decay, that converts one of the protons in a nitrogen-14 atom into a neutron, turning the atom into carbon-14. But remember, the chemistry of carbon-14 is exactly like carbon-12. So this carbon-14 atom bonds to 2 oxygen atoms to make CO2. Down on the ground, a respiring plant breathes in this CO2 molecule and uses the carbon to build its tissues and grow. And so at any moment in time, a living plant has the same ratio of carbon-14 to carbon-12 as in the atmosphere. Similarly, any animal that eats plants also has this ratio. But once the plant dies, or the animal dies, no new carbon is entering their system. The total number of carbon-14 atoms in their bodies is frozen at the time of their deaths. And slowly over time, this carbon-14 decays back into nitrogen-14 at a predictable rate. The moment that tree branch was turned into an axe handle, the clock started ticking, and we only need to measure the ratios of carbon-14 to carbon-12 to read the clock. So why doesn't this work anymore for anything that died in the 20th century and beyond? At the height of the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union, together with a few other nations, tested over 500 nuclear weapons in the atmosphere. Among other things, these tests scattered a lot of carbon-14 in the atmosphere, far in excess of what cosmic rays were producing. So much so that radiocarbon dating a person that died in the 1960s today would give you a negative age for their remains, as though their body had traveled backward in time from the future. But the era of nuclear testing in the atmosphere is long over, and most of that extra carbon-14 has settled out, returning to the numbers you get from cosmic rays. So what's the problem with carbon dating now? Well, remember that the ratio of carbon-14 to carbon-12 in a plant is almost exactly what you find in the atmosphere. And one way to mess up this ratio is to add a lot of extra carbon-14 in the form of nuclear tests. But the other way is just to add a lot of carbon-12, and that's exactly what we're doing. There's plenty long enough for all of their carbon-14 to have decayed away, leaving only carbon-12 and carbon-13 isotopes. When we burn these fuels and produce CO2, none of that CO2 contains carbon-14. And so the ratio of carbon-14 to carbon-12 is nothing like it was 100 years ago. Worse still, this ratio today is constantly in flux as we add CO2 to the atmosphere at unprecedented rates. And this trend doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. So in the distant future, archaeologists will have no reliable way to carbon date any of us. Because first we nuked the sky, and then we pumped megatons of extra carbon-12 into the atmosphere.
I hope everyone got that, yeah? So because of nuclear tests, yeah, and certain...
Hi, I'm Chris Pryor. I'm the team leader for the Rafter Radiocarbon Laboratory here at GNS Science.
Sorry, people.
This is the sample preparation laboratory for radiocarbon dating, and today we're going to show you a little bit about how radiocarbon dating is done. So how does radiocarbon dating work? It's actually pretty simple. All living things contain carbon, and there are 3 naturally occurring isotopes of carbon, carbon-12, 13, and 14. Carbon-14 is naturally radioactive. It's formed in the upper atmosphere.
Enough of that. You got a little bit of a science lesson there, yeah? So now you've learned, yeah, that nuclear tests and letting off nuclear devices, nuclear weapons, XYZ, atomic bombs, whatever you want to call them, hydrogen bombs, any kind of nuclear explosion is going to change the readings of any carbon dating. Now, they're saying that because of, the nuclear testing that was done in the 60s or whatever it was they said, yeah, that's going to mess up some of the test results. But wait a second, is that the first nuclear weapons that was being fired on this planet? Because if it's not the first nuclear weapons that's being fired on this planet, then all of the stuff previously that you're talking about is this age, that age, ain't the age you're saying it is. Some of it is potentially thousands of years older. XYZ. Like that. Some of it might be the actual age. Some of it might be younger. No one really knows. And once we can work that out, that no one really knows, there's a problem here. Yeah? Because these people, they're claiming to know. Do you see where I'm coming from? And if they're claiming to know, then they're going to have to know.
And you know what? Before you continue, can I say something, please? Can I get the floor?
Yeah, go
on. Cheers, bro. I think what makes me really look into these stories is there's so many different nations that claim the same origin story. That's one thing why it's been documented by so many people, and I know people were easily led, but no one's really that easily led when it comes to creation story. I've got to be honest with you. Like that's a very personal and serious thing that you're gonna try and especially if you believe in it and you want to live by it. Yeah, so it's got to be.
What about evolution? Do you believe in it?
I believe in evolution. Yeah, I believe in
evolution.
The process of it, but it's I think the process is definitely something that exists on a cellular level. Yeah, the process of evolution exists. Yeah,
evolution. All right, cool.
On every level.
I'll accept that answer. You see this next video, yeah? It relates to the one you just watched, yeah? And like I said, now what we're going to be going into is were those nuclear tests that were done in the 50s and 60s, were those the first ones on the planet? Yeah, we're about to find out, yeah, to some extent, what the opinions of that are, yeah? Or the general opinions out there. Boom, boom, bam. Let's get back to this now. Hold on. Let me make sure I don't paste it in the wrong box again. All right, bam. Here we go. I don't know. I'm going to have to pay for YouTube and get rid of these adverts, because these adverts get on my last nerve. I don't understand everything. That's adverts.
Irvine, California, April 2017. Ancient astronaut theorist Georgios Tsoukalos is visiting the Keck Carbon Cycle Research Lab at the University of California to see firsthand how radiation can dramatically alter the results of carbon dating.
Dr. Southam,
hi,
Giorgio, pleasure to meet you. How you doing?
Pleasure to meet you.
I'm here to learn about carbon dating.
Let me show you how this thing works.
All right.
Follow me.
Dr. John Southam is using accelerator mass spectrometry equipment to carbon date a sample of redwood that was exposed to radiation during the testing of atomic weapons in the 1950s. The process begins by sterilizing the wood chip and then exposing it to various chemical processes to remove any contamination. The material undergoes a combustion process and is reduced to graphite for optimal data retrieval. Finally, the graphite is sent through an accelerated mass spectrometer to measure the rate of radiocarbon decay and generate the age of the object.
Pull up a chair.
All right. So what are we looking at here?
Okay, so this is our result here. This is how much radiocarbon was in the samples that we measured from that redwood.
Okay.
And the thing that's strange about them is that the radiocarbon age is negative, which means, at least at face value, these are from 600 years in the future.
Really? Okay.
And the explanation for that has to do with nuclear weapons testing in the atmosphere in the 1950s and 1960s.
This is amazing. In your estimation, do you think that if an object is closer, let's say, to a nuclear testing site, that an item like that would be yielding more crazy results?
If it was really close, yes.
Okay.
So it would give you dates that would be the equivalent of tens of thousands of years in the future.
But I think that's so incredibly fascinating. If any object is exposed to some type of a thermonuclear event, it changes the result of the carbon dating. So I think that it's about time for us to look at our ancient history, because what if something similar happened in our past?
Stories of ancient warfare involving the gods using sophisticated weapons can be found in numerous texts. And ancient astronaut theorists have long proposed that these stories are backed up by physical evidence that can be found throughout the world.
One curious site that seems to indicate some kind of an atomic explosion is the very southwestern corner of Egypt, right up along the border of Libya. And that area is a sandy area, but it is covered with evidence of vitrification. That's what happens when you detonate an atomic bomb in a desert area. It turns the desert into glass. And also at Mohenjo-Daro, which is on the border of Pakistan and India, were these lumps of glass that had been molten and melted. And there were skeletons that were also found that were radioactive. So the evidence shows that there was some kind of atomic detonation or atomic war in our ancient history.
There are suggestions that there may have been some past nuclear weapons detonation. And if that occurred, then the carbon dating must account for that possibility. And that would make, by the way, everything look younger in carbon dating.
Kingo, what we doing there, bro? Now, out to the science geeks, out to the evolutionists. If carbon dating's wrong, evolution's wrong. I don't even need to argue with you guys no more. You just need to prove it. And ultimately, you know, if nuclear weapons or nuclear blasts alter carbon dating, then, you know, all right, we can prove to some extent that there was ancient nuclear warfare happening or nuclear explosions happening, however they happened. Regardless, they happened, innit? So none of the things you think are, you know, 2,000 years old are potentially 2 million years old. You don't know. You're making this stuff up. And this guy just exposed them. So I'm going to leave that one where it is. You lot, science buds, get your pens, your pads out, your pencils. You know, for the big boys, maybe use pen. If you're a little man, use pencil because you might have to rub out two mistakes. But yeah, you're not gonna have to get your heads around this one, car. That one just like, I'll be honest, that one's mad for me, bro. Yeah, that one just kind of is just like, that was out of this world for me. Yeah. Nah, I'm gonna finish on the subject that you lot all love the most, yeah, and the one that you like me to talk about, or the one that I like to talk about, whichever way it goes, yeah. Now, out to herbs, herbs. If you want to do a pro carbon dating vid, you can feel free to jump on any other show that we're doing, you know, because this one's not going to be on for too much longer. I've got 2 more videos, and the Kingo's got a video, and I think we out of here. But I want to say, you can call it pseudo, but you're going to have to prove to us that that glass isn't in that desert. You're going to have to prove to us that those skeletons aren't radioactive. You're going to have to prove to us that ancient civilizations didn't talk about things that could be depicted as, you know, what we call modern day nuclear weapons or explosions. And then once you can do all of those things, then we can discredit it completely. But until such a time, you know, there's 2 sides to this argument, is it? So, yeah, it don't have to be today, Herbs. Anytime you're ready, bro. Like, we're not running nowhere, innit? You know me? I don't run from things. I don't run from argument. Sorry, I don't run from argument. Pause. I don't run from argument. Get that correct. So, what we're going to do, yeah, for the last section of the show, this one, yo, Natty Dread. Yo, Natty Too Dread. This one here. In fact, nah, do you know what? I'm not even going to do that one yet. I'm not going to do that one yet. I got a better idea. Because you see this one here, a Kingo. Are you still there? Yo, Kingo, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, this one here, yeah, this one might be the life changer for you guys. Yeah.
What is
To Herbs, Herbs, I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my
What
voice,
is
but I'm
I'm
still
an
here.
Israelite. Am I going to become Israelite today?
I don't know if you're going to become an Israelite. I don't know about that one, but I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you one thing, yeah. Today, after watching this, you might have a different opinion on science versus religion and where the two of them stand on the playing field. Yeah. Now, I'm gonna let this video play. I'm not even gonna narrate it. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna let this video play. Yeah. Now, I like what Herb said, because Herb said the last video was pseudo, and people are probably gonna say this one is pseudo. But at the end of the day, you know, people could have made it up. So I'm not gonna argue with you. Anything could be made up. Any science could be pseudo. Gravity could be pseudo. Yeah, anything could be pseudo. Someone just has to prove it wrong, and now it's pseudo. So what we're gonna do, if you don't want to call it pseudo, please bring your information and prove it wrong. You know, like that. Now watch this.
Eyewitness reports of the destruction of meteorites over Siberia in 1984 and 2002 by Terminator spheres give further credence to the accounts of the 1908 Tunguska explosions and the ancient legends. We can assume that with their powerful electromagnetic charge, they were supposed to attach themselves to a flying meteorite and alter its trajectory so that it passed out of the Earth's atmosphere. If the meteorite's trajectory was such as to make deflection impossible, the Terminator simply destroyed the rocky splinters, literally melting the meteoritic substance, which subsequently hardened into tiny spherules. Numerous soil samples taken at different distances from the destruction site have yielded magnetite spherules containing up to 10% nickel, which supports the idea that they came from space. The magnetite particles display a great variety of shapes and different surface characteristics. Besides the predominantly spherical formations, one can also find drop-shaped particles that were produced by the spattering of molten meteoritic substance under the influence of the colossal temperatures produced by the actions of the spheres. Some spherules have a shiny surface. Others have a matte, grainy, and even finely porous surface, which is due in part to the meteoritic substance vaporizing when the matter was viscous. Often the spheres are hollow with a slag-like look to the inside. Sometimes one comes across conglomerations of magnetite and silicate spheres, indicating that they were formed at the same time and pointing to the complex composition of the Tunguska meteorite associated with the genesis of these spherules. Work carried out in 1961 established that there is a certain pattern to the distribution of these spherules on the surface. The greatest concentration of them is found in a strip 60 kilometers wide, extending northwestwards from the epicenter of the meteorite explosion, and which can be traced for over 250 kilometers. In the disaster region, covering an area with a radius of about 130 kilometers from its center at the Kulik site, there are 3 identifiable zones of peat enriched with microspherules. The first, with a thin sickle shape, curves around the epicenter. The second reflects the movement of the unknown object in the region of zones 4 and 5, to the east and northeast of the Kulik site in the upper reaches of the southern Chunia River and thus coincides with the start of the disintegration of the meteorite. The third zone, very large and amorphous, is located precisely in the region of Voronov's crater. It is no coincidence that the microspherules in this area display certain peculiarities of structure and formation that set them apart from those in the other zones. As the destruction of the meteorite took place directly in the ground, and so material from the soil became mixed with meteoritic matter during vaporization. The bolide was completely vaporized by the explosion, and the products of that process were scattered in the form of extremely fine spheres over an area of 15,000 square kilometers. Their combined mass is estimated at around 10 tons. It is for this reason that all the expeditions that visited the area of the explosion found nothing of the meteorite itself, apart from a dusting of silicate and magnetite spherules that the blast wave spread across the entire Earth. Decades passed, and then on the 26th of February 1984, a meteor crossed the sky of western and eastern Siberia at a height of roughly 100 kilometers, precisely following the trajectory of the 1908 Tunguska body. At that time, passengers in a bus observed from an elevated section of the Mirny Highway far to the north a thin pillar of fire extending from the ground to the sky that then began to undergo various geometrical metamorphoses. The sight lasted several minutes. Fishermen in the area of the River Chona observed rising into the air from the hills to the north, the Valley of Death region, two enormous shining spheres that, gradually picking up speed, soared vertically upwards and disappeared behind the clouds. The whole event took several minutes, after which time the clouds continued to glow for a while. Then, without reaching the ground, the object exploded in a shower of sparks in the area of the River Chilim. An expedition dispatched to that area found, as with the Tunguska event, no traces of meteoritic material apart from magnetite and silicate spherules. They discovered no large-scale uprooting of trees, as the explosion took place at great height. Drawing on data received from a military satellite, the US Department of Defense distributed information about a large meteorite falling in the area of Badaibo in the Irkutsk region of Russia. The satellite recorded the appearance of a shining object at a height of 62 kilometers, moving at an angle of 32 degrees to the horizon. Observation continued to the point where a powerful explosion took place at a height of 30 kilometers. Preliminary calculations put the power of the explosion at an equivalent of 200 tons of TNT. The first interviews with witnesses to the Vitim meteorite explosion pointed to a parallel with the Tunguska event in terms of phases of development. It is noteworthy that one of the witnesses questioned noticed that his dog became agitated and began to whine half an hour before the explosion. Here are some eyewitness accounts. Yevgeny Yarygin was on duty at the electrical distribution center in the settlement of Muscovit. I was on duty in the switchboard room whose window faces south. The weather was cloudy, rainy, and it was drizzling. We were sitting and chatting. A glow appeared outside the window. Shadows appeared. The light was coming from the window. Through the windows we could see a bright hemispherical glow beginning to rise from behind the hills to the southeast, at a bearing of roughly 160 to 170 degrees. The light was white, like you get in welding. The white light seemed to rise upwards, and behind it the light began to shift into the red and maroon. A red pillar was seen by the bus passengers before the Chilim explosion, and also by witnesses to the Tunguska explosion. Little rays were visible above the ascending hemisphere. The glow spread over the whole sky. The light was even and unbroken. We could not see any flying objects. The parting of the Yaromiki stream above the watershed, of which the glow was rising, was brightly lit. Then everything began to dim and went out. The glow lasted around 10 seconds. I went onto the landing outside, went to the fence and opened the door. By then, about 30 seconds had passed after the disappearance of the glow. There was a penetrating report, an explosion, a very sharp bang. It made your ears ring and even made you weak at the knees. Plaster came down in the building.
This story
shook. There was a single bang. That was at 7 minutes to 2. But a distant noise had appeared even before the beginning of the glow, something like the roar from an aircraft. Witnesses to the Tunguska explosion compared this noise with a 3-inch shell in flight. The sound came from the same quarter as the glow, but the bang came from the opposite side, where the glow had been heading. I heard that someone was sitting in an armchair at home and the chair moved under them. Viktor Vedeshin, questioned by telephone on the 22nd of October 2002, said, "I was on duty that night at the boat station. A strong wind blew and at the same time a strong glow appeared in the sky. It was white with a greenish tinge to it, bright like a welding spark or lightning, making your eyes hurt to look at it. Right then a shining flying sphere appeared. It flew beyond the horizon in the direction of Maksimiki." Vitaly Valyuk, who worked at the town hall in Bodaibo, noted, 8 minutes to 2 in the morning. Dense cumulus clouds in the sky. I was standing and smoking. Suddenly there was a flash. I thought it was lightning, but the glow grew as if someone was turning on one bulb after another. It became as bright as day. Some object flew from the southwest to the northeast. You couldn't tell if it was a sphere or not. It had a turquoise glow around it. It was perhaps the size of the lunar disk, and it had a tail behind it, reddish like the sparks from a bonfire. The angle of fall was about 60 degrees. The speed of the object was very high. While it all flew past, I had time to finish my cigarette, and 30 seconds later there came a rumble, like a distant explosion. Marina Kovaleva reported it was 5 to 2. That light lasted a few seconds, then everything turned pink. Then it got darker and darker and darker, becoming a reddish light. Then there was a rumbling. You got the impression, well, I don't know, like something below the ground. Not clear, but dull. A subterranean rumble from the working complex was also noted by the witnesses to the Tunguska explosion, who compared it to the rumble of train wheels. And after that rumble, the window panes rattled. The glow was visible in the settlements of Kropotkin and Mama, located around 140 kilometers on either side of the object's presumed crash site. One of the witnesses stated, "Out of the blue, my dog began to whine for no apparent reason. Suddenly we heard a strange noise, some kind of hum. 2 or 3 seconds later there was a flash, white at first, then blue, then red, and white again. And then, about 3 minutes later, there was a terrific bang. The china all fell off the table. The object detected by the American military satellite was not a meteorite or bolide. Its instruments recorded the flight of the first Terminator as it plunged down to intercept the Vitim meteorite, which gets its name from the place above which it exploded. A blinding flash lit up the Tiger for a few instants with a bright light, like daylight, after which there came an explosion of such force that the blast wave, coming from a height of 32 kilometers, left all the dwellings for dozens of kilometers around without glass in the windows. The researchers who made their way to the explosion site indicated by the US satellite saw pines on the way with their tops and branches torn off. Yet when the instruments indicated they had reached their destination, they could not find a meteorite crater or even anything remotely resembling one. There was no large-scale uprooting of trees at the site because the first explosion took place much higher up than that at Tunguska and successfully deflected the meteorite away from inhabited settlements. However, significant uprooting of trees was observed, especially at the top of hills. After the first strike, which shifted the meteorite's course away from inhabited places, the other terminator spheres closed in and began methodically destroying the remnants of the intruder from space. The blast could be felt across a radius of no less than 30 to 50 kilometers from the epicenter. It took the tops off trees. The blast wave left all the dwellings for dozens of kilometers around without glass in the windows. As with Tunguska and Chilim, all the expeditions that went to the Vitim region found nothing except magnetite and silicate spherules that resulted from the destruction of a meteorite likely to have been carrying dangerous microorganisms. Many witnesses saw that two large radiant points moved along the same course as the meteorite. For 2 days, these little stars lit up the taiga by night, as if they were looking for something. The same thing was reported by witnesses to the Tunguska incident. Many people said that after a glow was seen in the sky for several days, that was the result of the Terminator sphere's powerful influence. It should be noted that atomic explosions at altitude change the conductivity of the ionosphere. This inevitably leads to a disturbance in the Earth's magnetic field, a so-called geomagnetic effect. The geomagnetic effect of the Tunguska event was discovered in 1959 by 4 researchers from Tomsk. They found traces of an unusual disturbance in the geomagnetic field. This makes it possible to suggest that the destruction of the meteorite caused an unusual disturbance in the geomagnetic field, similar to a magnetic storm, with a sudden onset but unusually short duration. One of the oldest doctors in the Evenk Autonomous Region, Dr. A.N. Deskov, recollected that rumors of some afflictions did circulate among the Evenk after the Tunguska event. For all the uncertainty of the situation, nevertheless observed that, in conditions of a complete absence of physicians or indeed any medical care, isolated cases of radiation sickness may have gone entirely unnoticed.
All right, I'm gonna stop that one right there, but you heard it here. Yeah. So when I said to you, is it possible that there's been nuclear explosions happening on this planet long before the 1950s? You know, we've got 2 different we've got a scientific kind of explanation as to, you know, there could be ancient technology. You know, we've got the religious explanation, you know, from the explanation of that Japanese thing we saw. You know, we could go into some other we could call them historical religious sites. Yeah, like we could go into Mesopotamia, we can go into Egypt, we can go into all these places, and we're gonna find evidence of, you know, these things happening, or people actually even depicting them. Yeah. So that one there, I'm gonna leave it where it is. I think it speaks for itself. I don't think I need to say no more. I'm not saying that, you know, this is 100% because I weren't there. I didn't see it for myself. But I'm gonna tell you this much. Yeah, you got how many different accounts? Yeah, and you got NASA and all of these people probing into this thing. Plus, you've got the evidence left behind. Yeah, those rocks. Yeah, that apparently come from meteorites. So, you know, like I said to Herbs, we can call it pseudo, but what we need to do, rather than just calling something pseudo, let's just prove them wrong. We're all ears over here. You know, like that, we're all listening. So for my next video, a Kingo's gone, but Kingo, this one was for you, you know. I'm not gonna lie. Kingo, you would have liked this one. Yeah, so it's a shame that you left, but I understand, man. Got things to do. You got things to do, bro. So, in fact, now you know what? Before I we'll leave that one till last. The Kingo. Let me deal with Natty 2 very quickly. Because Natty 2 Dread talked about this, but I think when I listened back to us having a discussion about it, you know, I gave my opinion on, you know, what was happening within this story. You know, Natty gave his opinion, so I thought let's just get a let's get a third opinion. We've had a first and a second opinion here, and we both got, you know, opposing opinions to some extent. So let's get a third one, you know, from someone else who maybe knows a bit about the subject. I thought that might be sensible, and see, you know, if we find anything conclusive. Now, ultimately, I only picked out this video because of the title. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I didn't really pick out this video because I thought it was I don't know. I didn't sit there and vet it for long, you know, like that. It's not a long video. I just thought, you know, it's only a quick video. We can have a look, you know, like that. So I did this while we was here, while we've been doing the show.
Intelligent diagramming.
I just decided, let me see if I can find some other videos that relate to things we've spoken about, and I think this one does. So 92 Dread, this one's for you, brother. Yeah. And I just found another one for you as well. Oh Lord. Yeah, here we go.
Resulted in Jesus' victory over the temptations. Matthew 4, 1 through 11. He continues to invade and overpower two of Satan's primary strongholds, the sphere of the spirit world as he exercises the demonics, Matthew 8, 28 through 34, and the domain of disease and sin as he heals a paralytic, Matthew 9, 1 through 8. After the storm is miraculously calmed, Jesus and the disciples continue their journey across the Sea of Galilee. The next incident is exclusively focused on Jesus, with no mention of the disciples. Matthew 8, 28 through 34. When he arrived at the other side in the region of the Gerasenes, two demon-possessed men coming from the tombs met him. They were so violent that no one could pass that way. "What do you want with us, Son of God?" they shouted. "Have you come to torture us before the appointed time?" Some distance from them, a large herd of pigs was feeding. The demons begged Jesus, "If you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs." He said to them, "Go." So they came out and went into the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and died in the water. Those tending the pigs ran off, went into the town and reported all this, including what had happened to the demon-possessed men. Then the whole town went out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they pleaded with him to leave their region. Matthew directs our attention to Jesus even further in order to answer the exclamatory inquiry, "What kind of man is this?" The group reaches on the other side in the Gerasenes region. Jesus now is in the Decapolis, a primarily Gentile territory, which explains why pigs are being raised, an animal considered unclean by Jews. Leviticus 11:7. And the swine, because it divides the hoof and is cloven-footed, but does not chew the cud, it is unclean to you. Deuteronomy 14:8. And the swine, because it parts the hoof but does not chew the cud, it is unclean to you. You shall not eat of their flesh or touch their dead bodies. The term Gadarenes refers to both the village of Gadara, which is located about 5 miles southeast of the Sea of Galilee, and the surrounding region, which most likely included the small village of Gerasa, modern Kersa or Kursi, which is located on the eastern shore of the Sea of Galilee and is the traditional site of the exorcism. As Jesus arrives in the region of the Gadarenes, two demon-possessed men coming from the tombs met him. Mark 5, 1 through 20. And Luke 8, 26 through 39 record only one demon-possessed man here. Mark 5, 1 through 20. They came to the other side of the sea to the region of the Gerasenes. And as soon as he got out of the boat, there he met out of the tombs a man under the power of an unclean spirit. This man continually lived among the tombs, and no one could subdue him any more, even with a chain. For he had been bound often with shackles for the feet and handcuffs. But the handcuffs of chains he wrenched apart, and the shackles he rubbed and ground together and broke in pieces. And no one had strength enough to restrain or tame him. Night and day among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always shrieking and screaming, and beating and bruising, and cutting himself with stones. And when from a distance he saw Jesus, he ran and fell on his knees before him in homage, and crying out with a loud voice, he said, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I solemnly implore you by God, do not begin to torment me." For Jesus was commanded, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." And he asked him, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion, for we are many." And he kept begging him urgently not to send them away out of that region. Now a great herd of hogs was grazing on the hillside, and the demons begged him, saying, "Send us to the hogs that we may go into them." So he gave them permission, and the unclean spirits came out and entered into the hogs, and the herd, numbering about 2,000, rushed headlong down the steep slope into the sea and were drowned in the sea. The hog feeders ran away and told it in town and in the country, and the people came to see what it was that had taken place. And they came to Jesus and looked intently and searchingly at the man who had been demon-possessed, sitting there clothed in his right mind, who had the legion of demons, and they were seized with alarm and struck with fear. And those who had seen it related in full what had happened to the man possessed by the demons and to the hogs. And they began to beg Jesus to leave their neighborhood. And when he had stepped into the boat, the man who had been controlled by the unclean spirits kept begging him that he might be with him. But Jesus refused to permit him, but said to him, "Go home to your family, and to bring back word to them of how much the Lord has done for you, and how he had sympathy for you and mercy on you." And he departed and began to publicly proclaim in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him. And all the people were astonished and marveled. Matthew 4:25. Large crowds from Galilee, the Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judea, and the region across the Jordan followed him. The risk is increased by the fact that these two men are so violent that no one could pass that way. They appear to be well known and feared by the general public. The demons, like Satan, quickly perceived Jesus' real status as the Son of God.
Live streaming can be tricky, and sometimes trying to find the right software to make your streams look really professional.
Matthew 4:3-6. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." Jesus answered, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. "If you are the Son of God," he said, "throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." This is a title that the disciples will eventually use when they develop a better understanding of his uniqueness as the one whom the Father has revealed to be his beloved Son. Matthew 16:16. Simon Peter replied, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Matthew 14:33. And those in the boat knelt and worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." Matthew 3:17. And behold, a voice from heaven said, "This is my Son, my beloved, in whom I delight." Matthew 17:5. While he was still speaking, behold, a shining cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my Son, my beloved, with whom I am delighted. Listen to him." But from the demons, the use of the title announces their acknowledgement that another stronghold of Satan, the domain of the spirit world, is being encroached and overtaken. The demons contrast with the disciples in verse 27 because they know who Jesus is. Despite this understanding, they remained demons. Knowing Jesus but hating him is demonic. The question the demons hurled at Jesus could be either harsh or gentle, depending on context. Leave the men and enter the herd of pigs. When the devils entered the herd became frantic and raced off a cliff into the Sea of Galilee. Ironically, the demons' quest to avoid eternal punishment led to the demise of their earthly hosts. Jesus had no reason not to accept their proposition because it served his goals. First, it resulted in the men being liberated from the demons. Second, pigs were unclean creatures according to Jewish tradition. Thus, they were a fitting emblem and a safe haven for demons. Third, accepting their proposal did not change the demons' ultimate fate on Judgment Day. Therefore, Jesus accepted their proposal, since the demons were essentially doing Jesus' work for him. More importantly, Jesus was not committing a sin by accepting the demon's suggestion. On the other hand, Jesus' encounter with Satan in the desert was entirely different. If Jesus complied with Satan's requests, he would lead Jesus into disobedience. As a result, Jesus chastised Satan with scripture and refused to submit to Satan's demands. This is the main distinction between the two instances. The demon's plea in Matthew 8 did not cause Jesus to sin, whereas Satan's demands on Jesus were designed to cause Jesus to sin. The demon's plea to be sent into a nearby herd of swine would not be an unhappy thought to Jews, who considered swine and demons of the same order.
All right. So 92 Dread. I hope you were listening to that one, brother. So obviously we got, our conversation that we had. We got your analysis. We got your thoughts. Now you've got it from someone else who's basically saying more or less the same thing I said. Like that. Like in the sense of the pigs being unclean and them things there. Like I'm pretty sure I remember myself saying something to the same effect. You understand? And it's like, I said this also. Anything that goes against the Most High is that demonic. Anything that doesn't fit into the Most High's narrative is that demonic. I said that also. So I want you lot to bear that one in mind, and I want you to really take that into consideration, like for future reference with these types of subjects. Nah, I'm gonna move on from that now because I think now we've heard enough. The last one I'm gonna do, yeah. Alright, the last one I'm gonna do, yeah. This one is for Akingo, yeah, because I know Akingo likes this subject. I've heard him talk about on it many a times, and it would have been nice if you were still here, Akingo, because we could have done this one together, and I'm sure you would have had a lot to say on this one. But I'm not going to waste no one's time because we got things to do, we got places to be, let's just keep it moving. All right. Before this video plays, I want to ask you a question, yeah? Because this question was asked on the show, yeah? And then it's weird how this video came up today. I'm just looking today and I found this one, yeah? But someone said, the Christians and Muslims worship the same God. Now I'm going to say to you, according to what's being said in this video, I'm not so sure anymore. Now listen.
Come on. Where is the guy? I don't want to speak to you. Okay. Come on. Come on, don't speak to you. That's what come on means. Come on, human. Yeah. Yeah, come on. Come on. Come on. What did you eat when you were young? Did you eat a motorbike? When Muhammad sat on a donkey to meet Allah. Where was he? You're looking for donkey? Where was he? There's donkey out there. No, donkey is here. But he don't have answer. Who is donkey? Me? Donkey that believe God was inside our private parts. Come on, answer the question. Answer to human being, you're a donkey, I can't answer to you. People say, he deserves to be disrespected. He's the enemy of Allah, day and night, insult Allah and His Messenger. On the donkey. And we found that he ate a motorbike when he was young. Where was Allah? Anyway, you Allah. Firstly, it's wrong. Prophet was not on a donkey. That's firstly. Secondly, Allah is above His creation, above His throne. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thirdly, that does alhamdulillah make sense, clear. Allah above the throne. He believed God, who is Isa of private part, and he talk about Islam. See yourself. No, we say.
Are you saying Muhammad is meeting?
He's not listening. I answered the question. He's not listening.
If Allah is...
Take care of yourself anyway. Why you hold the Quran like this? Look, this is alhamdulillah is in English, not Arab. Alhamdulillah.
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 What is this?
You don't become Muslim, huh? You're not happy. Your family becomes Muslim. Alhamdulillah. See, Islam will enter to your house.
Your sister and your mother, they are enjoying muta, isn't it? Isn't it? They are enjoying muta.
I don't believe in mut'ah.
Yeah, muta.
I don't believe in mut'ah, donkey. I don't believe in mut'ah.
You don't believe in Quran.
Quran doesn't say mut'ah.
Quran says
mut'ah.
Muta is a halal thing.
That's
why.
Wait. Where does it say in the Quran? Where?
That's why Muhammad.
Liar. Old man liar. Old man and liar.
Abu Bakr practice. Usman practice.
And you God practice.
They all practice. Look. And you are saying.
You ask question. You ask question. You ask question. Yeah. Can I ask question now? You ask question. Why you God was doing inside private part, pretending to be a baby?
Because my God is Almighty God.
I pretend to be baby.
All right. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't need to play no more of this video. Because if you don't get the point by now, a man said, why is your God pretending to be a baby? And then the other guy saying, why is your God something to do with a donkey? Yeah. But they're very specific in their language when they're identifying that your God ain't the same as mine. So I don't know if these brothers are confused. I don't know what's going on here. But that definitely had me confused for a second, because I thought, you know, from previous conversations I've had with Muslims and Christians, everyone believed in the same God. But now I'm getting the inkling that everyone just believes there's one God, but their one's the right one. All right, cool. I'm only getting the inkling. I'm not saying that's definite. Yeah, that's just, you know, the kind of energy and vibes I'm getting from watching this video here. Yeah. And he goes on to continue this similar kind of rhetoric. Your God, my God, X, Y, Z. Yeah. I'm going to conclude on this one. Yeah. This is it. If a Kingo comes back, we'll do this
Hello
video.
and welcome to PM Express.
Hold up. I don't know what I just did there.
Tabiha.
That definitely want the video. Sorry about that.
This is supposed to be one of the holiest sites in the world, in one of the holiest cities in the world. But this cell phone footage shot inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem shows a scene that's anything but tranquil. Trapped inside, Palestinian worshippers are tear-gassed by Israeli forces. You can see the stained glass windows of the prayer hall being smashed by the police, who then aim their guns through the openings. Eventually, they enter the hall and begin arresting dozens of people. This scene has been repeated over and over. Israeli police raiding the compound, locking the mosque's doors, attacking with tear gas, rubber bullets, beatings, and arrests. In the ancient courtyard, people fight back with stones and fireworks. This is a city under occupation where Israelis have the ultimate power, and they often succeed in clearing the compound to let these Jewish Israelis in. On the surface, this might seem like just a religious rivalry, but there's a lot more to this story. It's about control, not just of the holy sites, but of the land and the people who live on it. So we're going to look at who these people are, what their goals are, and how a 1994 massacre of Palestinians at another holy site by an Israeli-American settler might shed light on where Jerusalem is headed today. Jerusalem is at the heart of three religions: Islam, Judaism, Christianity. But since occupying East Jerusalem in 1967, Israel has aimed to ensure the city has a Jewish majority.
You are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
No!
To Palestinians who have been living under occupation and denied equality for decades, Al-Aqsa isn't just Islam's third holiest site, it's a symbol of their nationhood. Jews call Al-Aqsa the Temple Mount because it's believed to be the site where two ancient Jewish temples once stood. The second temple was destroyed by the Romans roughly 2,000 years ago, but until then, it had been the center of Jewish worship, the holiest place for Jews. Still, even after they occupied the site in 1967, Israeli authorities maintained a policy that Jews should not pray there and that only Muslims can. But that might be changing. And these people are driving that. They belong to various groups that make up what's generally referred to as the Temple Mount movement. Their ultimate goal is to demolish the mosque, this symbol of Palestinian nationhood, this sacred site to Muslims worldwide, and build a third Jewish temple there. And they're pretty open about their plans.
For 34 years, the Temple Institute has been preparing for the rebuilding of the Holy Temple and the renewal of the divine service.
They've even got detailed architectural renderings of what the temple would look like. They receive financial support from the Israeli government and charities in the US, Canada, and the UK. In recent years, they've even offered cash rewards to Jews who enter the Al-Aqsa compound or slaughter animals there, which was part of Jewish ritual at the original temple. For decades, these activists were dismissed by most Israelis and constrained by the government, but that was then.
So a few years ago, this was considered fringe?
Zealots, lunatics, peculiar. Today it's mainstream.
Yehuda Glick is one of the movement's most prominent figures, and he served in the Israeli parliament, the Knesset. He's not the only one to reach that office.
10 years ago, there was not a single member of Knesset who ascended Temple Mount. Today, we have 20 of the Knesset members.
It's become common for government ministers and leaders, and even the Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, to talk about imposing Jewish prayers at Al-Aqsa. Until the early 2000s, the number of Israeli Jews who entered the Al-Aqsa compound was very small, maybe a few dozen a year. But as the Temple Mount movement has moved into the mainstream, that number has recently grown to tens of thousands a year. With the Israeli government increasingly allowing the status quo at Al-Aqsa to change, the worry is that things are going in one direction, towards a situation where Palestinian access to it is restricted even more, the way it has been at another holy site in the wake of a bloody mass killing. Here's that story. 20 miles south of Jerusalem is the Israeli-occupied city of Hebron, where the prophet Abraham is believed to be buried with members of his family under this building. Abraham is a central figure for both Jews and Muslims. That's why Jews call this site the Cave of the Patriarchs, and Muslims refer to it as the Ibrahimi Mosque. After the occupation began in 1967, Hebron was the first place that Israelis settled in violation of international law. Jews and Muslims both prayed at the site, but the situation was volatile. On the morning of February 25, 1994, hundreds of Palestinian Muslims were praying at the Ibrahimi Mosque. An American-born Israeli settler, a reservist in the Israeli army carrying an automatic rifle, entered the mosque, waited for worshippers to kneel down in prayer, and then started shooting. Baruch Goldstein killed 29 people and injured more than 120. One witness described how there were bodies and blood everywhere. Goldstein's massacre ended when the survivors hit him with a fire extinguisher and beat him to death. The injured were rushed to hospitals, which were overwhelmed. And as news of the killing spread, protests broke out across Hebron. Israeli soldiers opened fire, killing more than 20 additional Palestinians in the following days. While we were researching this story, we came across a letter published in the New York Times in 1981. The author notes the difference between Palestinian and Israeli birth rates. The solution, he writes, is for Israel to, quote, act decisively to remove the Arab minority from within its borders. The letter was written by Baruch Goldstein 2 years before he left the United States for Israel. Goldstein joined the Israeli military and became an army doctor, but often refused to treat non-Jews. He joined an anti-Arab political party called Kach that was later banned for inciting racism. He lived and was eventually buried in Kiryat Arba, an illegal Israeli settlement in Hebron. The settlers there strongly believed that Hebron should be theirs alone.
I think that his act brought a lot of security to the Jewish people here in Hebron and Kiryat Arba.
After the massacre, the settlement's chief rabbi described Goldstein as holier than all the martyrs of the Holocaust. Goldstein's grave is often visited by supporters, and his tombstone reads, "He gave his life for the people of Israel, its Torah and land." The massacre led to big changes in Hebron at the expense of its victims, the Palestinians. Under the pretext of securing the settlers who lived in the old city and preventing more violence, the Israeli army imposed a 2-week curfew on all of Hebron's Palestinians. It made the area around the Ibrahimi Mosque permanently off limits to everyone except settlers and foreign tourists. This had been a bustling marketplace, a commercial center for Palestinian life.
All right, that's it. We're done. We're out. If you want if you want to get the title to that video quickly, so you can go and look it up for yourself, feel free to do that real quick. But I'm about to lock this down. I think you've had enough. Yeah, and I ain't got nothing more to say other than this. Yeah, if we're all worshiping the same God, or the same Most High, or the same deity, or however you depict or name, you know, the creator, yeah, are we killing each other in the name of the same God? Are we fighting over these religious sites in the name of the same God? When we get in argument and say, you know, your God does this, how does that make sense? Are we talking about the same God? Are we talking about the same creator? Are we talking about the same Most High? Because if we're talking about the same Most High, then what both of those guys said in the video before was disrespectful, not only to the Most High and to the person they're opposing, but to themselves. It's ridiculous. But listen, we out. You lot, I'll catch you next time. Bless up.